What's up, everyone? Welcome to a very special episode 57 of Podcast Reload, a general gaming podcast where we invite guests from around the world onto the show to talk about video games and the game industry in all its weird ways. I'm your host, the Seoul, Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski, and joining us today for our annual Game of the Year 2018 Podcast Reload Awards is Mr. Vin Hill.
Hello! It's been a while, man. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, actually, last time I think we did this mid-January.
Yeah, probably.
Which is a good time to do Game of the Year 2018.
Yeah, it always annoys me when people do them at like the end of December, because you're like, wait, the year isn't even over. I haven't even finished these games yet, and you're already talking about them. Just wait a minute, let it soak in, let it breathe. So yeah,
definitely.
I don't mind doing it in January.
It's I think the classic example in recent memory was when Far Cry 3 came out, I think at the end of 2013. And I think Colin Moriarty brought it up on his Game of the Year 2018 episode where he said, I think that guy Mitch, he played the game, and during all the talks, he was just like, man, you guys got to play Far Cry 3. It should be on this list. Yeah. And it didn't get on the list because no one played it. And it's like,
happens a lot, man.
One of the best games of that year.
Yeah, it happened with The Last Guardian as well. I know that probably wasn't like a Game of the Year contender for a lot of people, but like it wasn't even discussions really, because people didn't really have the chance to properly play it because it was in like mid-December. It was one of those games as well. So yeah, it's a funny business, but you know, I prefer doing this stuff in January. Like, yeah.
Right. And how this goes, how it's gone in the past is we don't really have the best action game, best driving game, because
that's boring.
Yeah, so we have lots of arbitrary and random categories that we're just going to run through. And new to this year, luckily we kept the document from last year, so we're just kind of say like, okay, this is what we chose in 2017, right, and then this is what we chose in 2018. And I think there actually might be a couple new categories.
Yeah, I think there is
on here, but those things change. And we're not really going to time this thing. We're just going to
screw it. Let's just jump in.
Yeah. Let the conversation take its natural course. So here it is. I'm sorry, guys. Like, it is. I was just talking to Vin about this. It is so dry in this apartment.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
It's winter. That's what's going on. It's super cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no humidity anywhere, so it's all good.
Oh, that annual seasonal change. I always forget. I'm like, what's fall? Winter. Right.
Yeah, that
right.
cold
or
that
autumn.
Cold stuff.
I don't want anyone. Yeah. Oh, where it gets cold.
Right. I mean, I just moved to Canada, so yeah, I feel your pain, buddy. I feel your pain.
Yeah. It's definitely colder than it is here. That's for sure.
No, I mean you've got the humidity still, so it's all the same. It's all the same once it's past a certain point. So yeah. Yeah.
The 1 month in spring and the 1 month in fall where it's actually bearable weather in Kyoto. I can't wait for those 2 months.
Right. Good old Japan.
Hopefully there's no massive earthquakes while I'm on a train going to work this year.
Oh.
All right. 2018.
Video games.
Game of the Year. Yeah, video games. So let's start it off. Obviously we can't include every game we've played in these categories. So we're going to start off with notable games that we've either played or finished that probably or most likely won't be getting one of our awards in the categories to come. So, Vin, you want to start us off with any notable games? And I guess maybe we can go like game for game, like you do one, I'll do one.
Yeah, sure.
We'll kind of just.
Yeah, I mean, this year I ended up. I finally jumped in and got a Switch. Like I finally made that dive. So yeah, I mean, at the start of 2018, I made some like gaming New Year's resolution sort of thing, and I wanted to, you know, be a bit more inclusive, I guess, because I was bitch on Nintendo, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the effort. So I bought a Switch, and I finally got Mario Odyssey, and that was like the one game I wanted to play, and that was a ton of fun. Yeah, and I know that was, I think this one ended up in your Game of the Year, like in your like top 3 or something last year, if that's right.
What's that?
Your Mario Odyssey, was that in your Game of the Year list last year at some point?
Yeah, I believe it was number 3.
Yeah, I think it was up there. I can't remember exactly. I think we blacked out these at some point. But yeah, that was the one game that I wanted to play, and I was really glad that I did eventually get around to it. It's a really, really cool little game. I didn't get all the moons. Like, I'm not as crazy as you, but
oh, you didn't get all 999 moons?
No, man, I've got.
Yeah, you can't say that.
I know,
you beat the game,
but you know, I had an attempt. I got to the end. I saw some credits, I think. So you know, I'm maybe just started the game. compared to you. But yeah, I'm not as crazy as you are. So, but no, I really really enjoyed it. Like I haven't really enjoyed a Mario game in a long time, and that was like the first one that would like really jumped out at me. Like it felt fresh, it felt like something new. It was really charming. There wasn't really a boring moment in the game. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it.
You never played Super Mario 3D World, right?
No, I didn't. Okay. Not many people did, unfortunately, because of how bad that console sold. But yeah, no, I never played it. I hope that they do like a remaster or something for that one, and I'm sure they will.
One of the only things is there's a lot of there's several levels where you need the touch screen to move blocks.
Okay.
Like there's just a couple areas that have gimmicks in it, so I wonder how they'll get around that. But since they just re-released the new Super Mario Brothers U
the
Deluxe or whatever the fuck it's called,
like fucking crazy titles,
But I guarantee that they will release Super Mario 3D World. They released Captain Toad, right? So
that is a good point. But how about you, man? What's your first notable game?
First notable game is What Remains of Edith Finch.
The walking simulator, right?
I guess the walking simulator, yeah. I guess on this podcast I don't often talk about these games that much, but I do like the quote-unquote walking simulator. It's just a nice palate cleanser in between some bigger games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've played a couple. I played Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, was it called? Played that one, and what else I played? Gone Home, that's another great one. But yeah, I play them now and then, but like they never pop up in these discussions, I guess. But it's cool that you've noted it.
Yeah, and this one is just like it's super notable because it's more than just a walking simulator, and you're going to your old the house that you lived in, or I believe so. It's your family's old house, and it's just like in shambles, and it's a huge house. It's just been built on several times. Like it's very like dreamlike.
Okay.
Like the structure itself wouldn't hold up, but you end up going there, and each person in your family has died some sort of horrible death. It's actually pretty macabre.
All right.
But what you end up doing is going into each person's room in the house, which leads to a sequence where you're playing as that person and how they died.
Right, I see.
But the cool thing is, like, each person, when you play their part, there's like a new game mechanic ends up happening. And so the game just feels fresh all the time. And the house itself is like really, really cool to explore. Each person's, I guess they're almost like levels, really. They're all different. They're varied.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was just a really, really awesome game. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
How long is it? Is it like a massively long game?
No, it's not too long. Man, it's been a while since I played it.
Right.
I think I played it at the beginning of 2018, maybe like 4 or 5 hours.
No, that's not too bad. That's a good length. Yeah. I mean, when I played Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I think that one was done in like 4 hours or something, which was good because if it was any longer, I probably would have put the controller down and not finished it because it was just like a sort of, I mean, it's a walking simulator, like it inherently comes with that sort of baggage.
Yeah, and that game's slightly different too because like you're walking and the movement's so slow, and then
it's brutal.
You get to these points where just a conversation is playing out, but What Remains of Edith Finch is more of a video game,
right?
Like there's actually like
this
platforming and stuff that you do in the game. Yeah,
well, that's cool.
So if you ever see it on sale, like, and you have you just want to play one of those really short.
Yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch,
it's a really good game.
That is one of the games that constantly like pops up in discussions. You know, when people talk about the walking simulator and stuff, like they'll bring up wait, what's that one called again? Gone Home. That was it. I can't remember.
Gone Home.
Yeah. They've all got these crazy names, right? Yeah, like everyone always mentions Gone Home, and like a lot of people have been talking about What Remains of Edith Finch like over the past year. So yeah, I'll definitely pick that up when it comes to a sale at some point.
Right. And okay, how about you? What's the next game on your notable games
list? My next game is probably one of the first games I got on the Switch, actually, and it's something that I've been keeping an eye on for a while because I follow sort of like indie developers on Twitter and stuff, and it's a game called Bad North, and it's just
I've never heard of this game.
Yeah, it's like a really simple tower defense game. like mixed with like strategy elements, and you're basically playing as like Anglo-Saxons on these little islands, and there's just waves and waves of Vikings coming in, and it's basically like rock paper scissors, where you've got either swordsmen, archers, and pikemen. I think they're the three. Yeah, it is, and you have to basically defend off Vikings that have got the same sort of similar attributes to you, and you've got to like you level up your little dudes over time, and it's permadeath and all that sort of stuff. So if you lose like a unit, then they're gone forever, sort of thing. But it's just a fascinating little game, and it's really really fun. And I can't like it kind of tanked like on the reviews, but I really really enjoyed it, and I got it day one, and I was playing it, and I was talking back and forth with the developers on Twitter and stuff, because I've been following them guys for a while, like giving them feedback on the game, and they've been like updating it and stuff. And it was just a great little fun time waster, and I recommend everyone should try it.
I'm looking at this now. I really like the aesthetic.
Oh yeah, the art style is beautiful. Like it's super simple.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's like this half cell shaded stuff, like without like any textures really. It's just like block colors, but with nice gradients and stuff. And it's like a super cute little game, and it's awesome. Like it's super cheap. Pick it up. It's on the PS4. I think it's coming to iOS at some point. It's on Switch. It's on PC as well. I think Discord had some like crazy deal with them. But yeah, check it out. I mean, it didn't do well in like reviews and stuff. Like a lot of people complained that it was like too simple, or like it was too unpredictable and stuff like that. But if you take it for what it is, then you'll enjoy it. Like don't look for like a super deep game. It was made by like 3 guys or something. Like cut them a break. I really really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool.
But how about you, man? What's your next one?
Next one is the Telltale's Batman Season 1.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I remember this one now.
And by Season 1, I mean like there's 4 or 5 episodes,
right? But it finished off in 2018, right? I think this started. Did it start in 2017, or I can't remember?
It probably did. As a rule, I never buy any of those games until they come out in a single.
Well, it's a good thing you do, because
Yeah. Speaking of things that happened in 2018,
right.
So like I kind of like the Telltale games. Like I'm a big fan of the Walking Dead. I haven't played Season 3 yet, and a lot of people haven't.
Right.
It's definitely haven't finished it, but Season 1 and Season 2 I really liked. Mm-hmm. My favorite is still The Wolf Among Us.
Right.
Randomly, I think that's the best game that they made. But the Batman game is surprisingly good. I did not expect it to be good. I picked it up at like really cheap on a sale, and like, yeah, it's a really really interesting story, and it's a very easy platinum trophy.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Well, that's a good one for you, I guess, because you like them trophies.
Look, but dude, you get a platinum trophy for just beating that game. Like, you don't even have to go back and make separate choices. And after I got the platinum, I'm like, how did Journey not, in a game where I can only 100% the game, 100% of the game is totally dependent on whether I can convince someone to play most of that game through to the end with me. How is there no platinum trophy for that?
I got that completely by luck. Like, it was like the second time I ever played that game, and I like that trophy just popped, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And then like when like later on I started hearing about people that were just bitching about that trophy because like it's impossible to get, and it's like, oh yeah, I got that by accident, because you do get it by accident. That's just inherently how you get it. But yeah,
right. And I picked up Journey like years after it came out on the PlayStation 3. Oh, you know that comical first 2 years where like,
yeah,
I was playing like Prince of Persia and you were playing Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I remember this.
So it was like there was no one playing Journey on PlayStation 3, but yeah, it's like it's criminal.
Yeah,
I can't believe that game doesn't have a platinum trophy. But yeah, the Batman Telltale game. I haven't played Season 2, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was worth. It was definitely a notable game.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've just, like, when it comes to Telltale games, like, I do appreciate, like, it worked for The Walking Dead really, really well. And it worked for The Wolf Among Us as well. But, like, over time, it was just, like, it's, like, the same sort of format, and you start seeing the same puzzles repeat. But if like, I've heard really good things about the Batman series, so I might actually check that out at some point as well.
Yeah, it's good. What's the other one? The Tales from the Borderlands. I've actually finished like 3 episodes of that, and that's actually really good, and it's funny.
Right.
I did not expect it to be funny, but I haven't gone back to it yet, and I've owned the Game of Thrones one as well. I haven't even touched it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. They're so samey, you know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like when I was reading about the unfortunate closure, it was just I think the only game that they made profit off it said like in the reports that The Walking Dead season 1 was pretty much the only game that they made profit off, and it's like, ugh, it's tough, but you know, it's sort of, you know, it comes with the territory of just milking the success that you have, I guess. But sometimes it works out.
All right, what's your next notable game?
Next notable game I played was Pokemon Let's Go. Like, I know it sounds weird, right? And Vin's playing a Pokemon game.
Yeah, what's going on?
I know, but it's a remake of Pokemon Yellow, and it's like they haven't got random battles anymore, and it's basically Pokemon Go smashed into Pokemon Yellow. Graphics update. It's a very mindless game. I'll play it like when I've got nothing to do and I'm watching TV or something. I'll play the game while I'm like watching a TV show or something. It's completely mindless, but it needs to be mentioned because it's, you know, it's probably one of the biggest Switch games of the year, which is sort of weird to say, but that's just the case when it comes to Nintendo. But no, it was fun. I mean, it is what it is. It's not. It won't blow your socks off. I doubt it'll show up in any game of the year discussions other than this one. But yeah, it was
yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you're like one of my friends at work, Canadian guy, by the way, he's from BC. He only has a Switch, and he's only ever had Nintendo consoles. But he's not a big gamer.
Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's okay then.
But he loves Pokemon, and leading up to this game, he was like super, super happy about this game.
That's
I could tell like how excited he was. And I didn't pick it up. I got so close, Vin. I got so close to playing this game because the only Pokemon game I've ever played is Pokemon Blue.
Right, and it's pretty much the same game as that. Like it's the exact same. I mean, there's some like improvements. Like they gave, you know, like the abilities like chop down trees and stuff. You know, when you're going through like certain areas and you need to get like by the trees and you got to chop them down, all those like rocks and stuff like that. Like them obstacles are now given to essentially the player, or like the Pikachu, which is like running around on his shoulder. So it's not actually attached to like it's not like a move that you have to give to a Pokemon anymore, which is great. So like they've made like slight improvements and the game looks really good. Like I'll give them that, but they do like reuse like pretty much every animation out of the 3DS version of the game. There was been reports of that and stuff, but you know, it's Pokemon. It's the same shit. You know, you're throwing balls at monsters and you're catching them. That's what you do.
Yeah, it's very inoffensive.
Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect word to use when it comes to Pokemon. It's inoffensive, I guess. But you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the new one. And like, God, I really hope to God they don't put in like the Pokemon Go. You know, where you have to throw the ball at stuff because it's really boring. Like, it really ruins the game. But other than that, like, it's pretty mindless and inoffensive.
Oh, now I remember. That's one reason I didn't pick it up. Right. I was like, I can't play this with a Pro controller.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, it's pretty mindless in that respect. But it is what it is. How about you, man? What's your next one?
The next one is Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Okay.
The first Life is Strange I really, really liked a lot.
Still haven't played these games. Like, everyone keeps talking about them like they're God's gift to the earth, and I've never touched them. Like, sell me.
I wouldn't go that
I know,
far.
But like people give them good credit, I guess. But
the story in Life is Strange is the first one is really, really good. I'm a big fan of like murder mystery stuff in small towns.
Yep. I know what you mean.
And Life is Strange has a story in there about a missing person, and it's like a short Netflix show where you're trying to it's intriguing enough that you want to see the next episode because you want to know like what happened to this person type of thing.
Right.
And then you throw in this rewind mechanic that you have to use to figure out puzzles and stuff. It's just like a really, really good game. Also a very easy platinum.
That's always a plus for Evan.
Like it always is a plus. Yeah. Life is Strange Before the Storm it's a prequel where you play as not the main character from Life is Strange. You play as I think her name's Chloe.
Okay.
I think I should probably know this. Who cares?
Right.
But you play as her before the events of the first game, and I've only played the first episode. Mm-hmm. That's why it's on this list. But it seems promising. I actually don't really know what the story is about yet, but I'm intrigued. It's just, it's just like these Telltale games. Like I'll play one episode and then something else catches my attention and then I'll forget about it.
Yeah.
But I will be going back to this soon. in between one of these bigger games that I'll be playing, I'll go back and finish Before the Storm. But I quite enjoyed the first episode.
All right.
All right. What's next for you?
Next for me, I've got a few on this list which I'm gonna save for later because I think they pop up later. But
yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah, I'll skip those ones. But next one on the list is Captain Toad. Finally got around to getting this one.
Yes.
I got it on the Switch because no one owns a Wii U, like I was saying. But yeah, I mean, you've been banging on about this game for a while, and it's a super cute little fun game. Like I didn't want to pay full price for it or anything because like for what it is.
No.
I mean, it's a really great little game and a nice little time waster, but I still haven't finished it. It's like I'll just chip through a couple of levels like now and then, and I really enjoy it. Like it's just one of them games that I'm not in any rush to finish, if that makes sense.
Right.
But
I just, man, yeah, I just love how compact the levels are, and just like it's like you're looking at this diorama where if you turn the level one way, you'll see something that you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And it's so compact and tight, and you have to pay so close attention to the little areas of the game to get all the diamonds.
I think that's why that's why I like it so much, is purely because of how small the levels are and how well designed they are. Like when you do figure out the puzzles, you're like, oh shit, that's awesome. Just because there's such a small, minute amount of space, you just think, all right, everything's got to have a purpose almost, like a lot of the time, and it does, like 9 times out of 10. So it's really interesting sort of like studying game design, I guess. Like I like because I develop games and stuff, I guess. Like I find that stuff super interesting. But yeah,
right. You had your dev hat on when you were
right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of hard to take my dev hat off sometimes, like when I'm playing these sort of games. But like this one did it well. Like it gave it justice. Like because my wife will tell you, like more than anything, like just the sheer amount of times, like when I rage at games, like 9 times out of 10, I'll shout like, "Who designed this?" Like that's my that's my like sort of call out when I get pissed off at games, because it's bad design like annoys me more than anything else. But Captain Toad is sort of like the opposite of that. Like it does a really, really good job at like directing the eye and stuff like that. So yeah, Captain Toad, it's a really great little puzzle game. Like if you've got a Switch and you didn't play it on the Wii U, like pick it up. Like it's an awesome little game, and like don't be in any rush to finish it. Like don't sit down and try and complete it in a week or something. Just like
don't play games how I play games.
What you mean? Like you played Harry Potter?
yeah. Like I actually listened to that again recently.
I can't believe you played like all 7 of them games like in a row, like in 2 weeks or something. I was like, you're insane. I still haven't finished them games.
Oh.
But yeah, Captain Toad, it's like a fine wine. Like sip it over time. It's good. How about you, man? What's your next one?
Well, you might be surprised that this isn't making it into any category, but notable games. Actually, I haven't finished this one. Yakuza 3.
All right, where's Evan? What have you done with them?
Yeah, what happened? Don't worry, I played a couple other Yakuza games last year.
Never mind. So, all right, I'm sure they'll show up later.
So, in Japan, they're releasing Yakuza 3 through 5 on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, nice.
All of those games are PS3 games, so they've touched up the graphics a little bit. This is the first one for the PS3, the first Yakuza game. The original 2 were for the PS2. So this game kind of looks pretty rough.
Right.
I will not lie. It's like they're still figuring out the hardware of the PlayStation 3. It was an early PlayStation 3 game. It's good. It's more Yakuza. I will say though, the story is one of the weaker ones.
Right.
And that's why I haven't finished it yet, because I got caught up in Octopath Traveler and probably Red Dead maybe.
Nice, yeah. But, that time sinks, I guess.
Yeah, definitely huge. I mean, those games together is at least almost 200 hours.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
It's good. But once I beat this game, I will have played all of them.
Oh, okay. So this is the last one in the saga, right?
Yeah, so strange. I played 4, 5, 6, 0, Kiwami 2, and now 3. I will say it's the weakest of all of the games.
What, you mean like story or gameplay or what? Like is it
everything?
Just the whole package?
Pretty much just the whole package is just the weakest of all of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
It's still a fun game.
I was going to ask you, like, does the gameplay still hold up, like concerning how old it is and stuff?
Yeah, I mean the battle system,
similar sort of Yakuza style.
yeah, they ended up doing a bit more with like the special like your heat moves. You know, if like you build up your bar, and then once you build up your bar, you can press triangle to do like special moves like smash trash cans and
it's
stuff.
Kind of like a limit break sort of thing, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, the fighting system's a bit more stripped down. You can tell like they tweaked and reworked it as the series progressed. One cool thing is a lot of it takes place in Okinawa, which some of the, because like the orphanage that Kiryu comes from is in Okinawa, so Okinawa, the orphanage shows up a lot in all the other games, but you never actually get into town.
Interesting.
And I've been to Okinawa, and there's a famous street called International Street, Kokusai Dori, and that plays, and that's in the game. So I'm walking down the street, I'm like, oh yeah, I've totally been here. So it's neat.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's good.
Fair play.
Weakest of the series, but good. And all right, what's your next one?
My next one, ironically, I've just written it down because you just remind me. But I played a bit of Yakuza 0 this year, like Kiwami. Like I still haven't gotten into it. Like I do want to give it its due diligence, just purely because like how much you talk about it and how like fondly you speak of it. But like I did want to let you know I have tried it, and like I get the hype. Good. It's decent. Don't get me wrong, but
it starts off slow when they're teaching you all the little
right. I mean, it took a while, but like after about an hour of it, and you're just beating up business guys and stuff, and it's like, all right, I can totally see like getting lost in this. It seems like a ton of fun, but I got super busy with work. But I will get back around to it. I promise you. Like I will finish that one at least.
I will hold you to that when we do 2019 game of the year. I want to hear.
Yeah, okay.
I want to hear that in some category.
That is my promise, like to you, like before like game of the year 2019. I will finish Yakuza 0. How's that?
All right, good. Set in stone.
All right, but how about you? What's your next one?
I think this is my final one. Is I played it the last week of December. Yoku's Island Express.
I'm not even gonna ask.
You don't know this? You've never heard of this game?
Never heard of this game. What are you talking about?
Oh.
Let me Google it.
Yeah, please. It's a Metroidvania with a pinball mechanic. You play as this little dung beetle that rolls this ball around, and you're the postmaster of this island. So you show up, you're the new postmaster, and you travel around this island delivering mail, and you cannot jump in the game.
I've never heard of this game, and I'm looking at it now. I'm like, all right, this is wild.
It's awesome.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, how do I get up here? How do I get up to the next level? So
wait,
you'll roll down and you'll see this little.
So it sort of looks like Rayman almost, but with like pinball. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, the art style is very, very Rayman.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful game.
Right.
And so you pinball, you platform throughout the island by going in these little sections with pinballs or flippers, and that's how you move around the island, and you get abilities like any Metroidvania game where like you're allowed to swim underwater, and then once you get that, you'll go back to the several sections and find secrets and stuff like that. There's boss battles.
That's fascinating.
You have to hit them using pinball flippers and stuff, and it's a short game. It's like 6 or 7 hours. I beat it in 2 sittings, but I'm terrible at pinball. But I do like playing pinball games, and I love Metroidvanias. It's like one of my favorite styles of games. So Vin, it's so weird. It's like I'm playing this game, and it's like, of course, no one has ever thought to put pinball.
I was going to say,
how is
the two
no
guys that were sat there like high or something or drunk? There must have been something. I've got this idea for a game. All right, Metroidvania, but with pinball. And he's like, all right, man, let's do it.
What? Or like, they're trying to figure out their concept of their game, and they have this dartboard with like all different genres, like, and they're like really high, and each of them has a dart, and they're like, we're promising each other right now, no matter where these darts land, we are going to make this game. And he like flips like Metroidvania. He's like, okay, good start. And his fucking friend sucks at darts, and he just throws it, hits pinball. He's like, fuck, we got to make this game now. But it works. It totally works. It's an awesome game. Very colorful. Beautiful, great to play. The pinball feels good, and it's one of those cool like 5 to 6 hour games. But yeah, it's definitely a highlight of the year for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna roll through a couple games that I did not like.
Okay.
Or were disappointing to me. Rhyme,
Yeah.
The fake eco game.
Right. I got about an hour into that. Probably, I think that might have been this year as well. I'm not sure. Oh, well, 2018, I guess. Yeah, same deal. I got an hour in. I never went back to it.
It's so boring. And I did the same thing, Vin. I beat it in like 2 sittings, and I shouldn't have, because I kept getting more and more angry at the game. It's just, dude, that game's so boring. They did it wrong.
Right.
And it was so promising, those initial
yeah, like I mean, Eco is my favorite game of all time. So when I saw Rhyme for the first time, I was like, all right, this could be good. Let's see what they can do. And then I was super. It just doesn't have that like Eco sort of flavor to it whatsoever. I mean, the only other game which I've seen recently which has potential to do that as well is a game that's coming out it's pretty soon actually. It's a game by a company called Friend and Foe, and it's a load of like like Last Guardian devs that went off and started making their own game, and they're making a game called Vane.
Yes, that's coming out soon.
Yeah, that's how like within. I think it's out this month. Even I think
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's pretty soon. But yeah, I'm super hyped about that game. But yeah, that Rhyme is the opposite side, I guess, where it's just gotta hope Vane's good. You know, it's rough.
You know, it's funny that you say that, Vin, because you know the kind of funny showcase where they show previews of like 60 games. Out of all 60 games, Vane was the game that I was most interested in playing.
Right. Yeah, I've been following it for a year and a half. I think they started showing off. Yeah,
so
it's been a while.
You've known about it.
Oh yeah, because like as soon as it popped up in my feed, because I think Ueda, like the guy who, like the director of Eco and Last Guardian and Shadow Colossus, I think he reposted it or something on Facebook, and we're friends on Facebook. I know it's super weird, but like he
yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, and he posted it up, and it was like a really, really early sort of preview build that they were doing. And it looks completely different now. Like it's so different, but it looks good. It still has that sort of essence to it. So yeah, I really hope that game's decent.
Oh, that's awesome here. Yeah, I really hope that game pans out, because the second I saw it, I was like, I really like the look of this game.
Yeah, it looks dope.
Okay, and then quickly, Bayonetta 2, I played it last February. The fighting is awesome, but it's just nonstop fighting for like 8 hours.
Yeah, it's an acid trip.
I got pretty bored of it. And man, like, okay, I know it was a Wii U game, but in the beginning of that game, like, Bayonetta's walking through a city, and that city looks fucking terrible. It looks like a Dreamcast game.
Right, PS2 maybe.
And there's a part where that fake Danny DeVito or Joe Pesci guy is in this shop trying to buy a plane for his kid. Yeah. And there's like nothing in the shop. They just plop down some like assets and just like stretched one texture over it and like changed the colors, and like, this shop sucks. It just looks really, really ugly. And that's not to say like that's just the opening of the game.
Right.
The enemies themselves are varied and like really, really cool looking, but
yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before with the whole, like, when it comes to Japanese games development, like they spend a hell of a lot of time on character development, like over environment art, which is really disappointing, because you know that's where their game falls short a lot of the time. But it's something I've always had a pet peeve with, when you get these awesome characters like fully detailed and they've got like twice as many polys as anything else in the game. It's like, right. I kind of had that problem looking at screenshots of Nier Automata as well. I had that same thing. It's like, oh man, look at them environments; they look awful.
We're going to talk about that game.
All right.
I'll tell you that much.
I look forward to it.
And then the last game that I super disappointed in was Iconoclasts, which is also a Metroidvania.
I've not heard of that one either.
I'm not gonna get into it. The game is absolutely beautiful. Like when you talk about like pixel art and character, you know, like the idle animations where the characters can just kind of like bobbing in place.
Yeah.
Like super smooth pixel art, absolutely beautiful.
I'll check it out.
But it's just one of those Metroidvanias where like when you're fighting bosses, you'll die at least once or twice because the bosses telegraph so poorly what you're supposed to be doing.
I see. Okay.
It just got really, really frustrating. The story is interesting, which is like really, really weird. It has to do with religion. It's like you're on a different planet. It's not Earth, but you can tell where they're going with the story. It's a bit of a Jesus, but right. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing. I got really frustrated. A lot of times I didn't know where to go, and I'm just like, fuck this. And I looked on YouTube. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Right.
Like, it was
super
like
cheap.
That type of frustration.
Right,
yeah. So
right. Okay.
Absolutely beautiful game, but a bit disappointing.
Right.
And that's it for me for notable games. So if you want to wrap up this category with
yeah, I've only got a couple
else?
more. Again, I'm going to skip one because it's going to show up later. But I played Katamari Reroll. That's another one. It's a PS2 remaster that came out on the Switch. And yeah,
did you play the original?
I never played the original Katamari Damacy, which is what the remake is of. But I played other Katamari games. Like I played Beautiful Katamari, and I played Katamari Forever. The names are wild. Like that game, that the director of that game is just, he's nuts. Like he needs to be put away somewhere, but like still let him make games, you know. Like he's completely crazy. But yeah, I mean it's Katamari. It's super fun, and yeah, just if you haven't played Katamari before, like where have you been? Get out of that rock that you're stuck under and go and check it out.
It's an amazing game. There's nothing quite like it.
No, not at all. I mean, it's like from the cutscenes, like the cutscenes are just like, what is happening right now? Like, and you've no idea what's going on. And it's like, who are these guys? And it's okay. Why are people at scale? And it's just don't think while you play. Just enjoy playing it. Like it's all gameplay and it's super fun.
I'm making a new category. The 2018 most Japanese game ever award goes to Katamari Reroll,
right?
Which is called Katamari Encore.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
All right, and then sorry, yeah, I've got one more. Last one that I want to mention. I've finished Breath of the Wild this year. So, I finished playing it, I should say.
Yeah, what'd you clock in at time-wise?
God, no idea. It must have been in like the high 80s though. Like it's just it just never ends, man. Like that game is just like, oh come on, there's another shrine. But I mean, same issues as what I had last year. Like we spoke about in Game of the Year episode last year, and all the same sort of issues like applied all the way through. Like, and I think like last time we discussed it, I hadn't even gone to like one of the main 4 dungeons or whatever. But, like even afterwards, like all the same issues still reign through, where it's like the battle system, like I can't, like it's indefendable. Like the battle system literally punishes the player by destroying your weapons and then doesn't reward you in any way, because it like none of the enemies drop anything meaningful and they don't give you experience. So it's like the battle system is just completely pointless. So I just found myself in the world avoiding every single battle that I could, because it's like I'm not going to get anything out of this other than a broken weapon, so I'm just not going to fight that guy. And like I played the whole game like that, and I got to the end and there was no problem, and the battle system was pointless. So that was my ultimate problem with it. But that's it. I'll stop bitching about Breath of the Wild. Send away hate mail towards Evan. It's all good.
No, I mean, coming from me, someone who thinks it's one of the best games of the past decade, I will say the weakest part of that game is the battle system.
Right,
it's not very good.
I mean,
and even when you're doing it, it's not very good.
Yeah, I mean,
like
the battle
little
system,
baby hops and the flips.
Yeah, I mean, the battle system isn't bad. Like the actual doing of it, you know, like the actual fighting and stuff like it wouldn't be so bad if it was just like, if it just punished, if it wasn't so punishing to the player, where it's just like finally got a sword, but I don't want to use it because it might break, you know, like that sort of mentality is bad. Like
and then you get the master sword and that breaks too. It's like, come on.
It's horseshit. It's complete horseshit. And I don't know. It's Zelda. I mean, people are going to defend it until the end of time, so it's like there's no point in really criticizing it in any way, especially after one game of the year. So that's the deal. But yeah, that concludes all my noble mentions, I guess.
Okay, all right. Now, moving on to the actual categories of Game of the Year 2018 Podcast Reload. Our first category is Best 2017 Game of 2018. I ripped this category name wholeheartedly from Giant Bomb. They always do this.
Yeah, go for
it. But I think it's a good category because you don't get to play every game in the year it's released, and it's always good to.
Everyone plays games like everyone. Like every single gamer on this planet has played a game that's like a year too late, and then they can't discuss it next year. Like it sucks, but it happens. So yeah, I love this category. But go ahead.
So my 2017 pick was Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, which I don't think I played since I put it on the list 2 years ago. But my 2018 best 2017 game of 2018 is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, like I think this was on my Game of the Year list last year as well. So yeah, well played.
It would have been for me as well if I would have played it that year.
Right.
Man, I put those headphones on and like 5 minutes into the game, I was all in on this game.
I mean, headphones
the sound
are
design
needed.
is it's the mandatory.
Yeah, it should be. I think they mention it like when you boot up the game, like they say this game is best played with headphones. I think that was Hellblade. But yeah,
it's what's really interesting is I'm not really up on my Norse mythology,
right?
And then later in the game every now and then, there's like these stone structures that if you go to them, they'll light up and tell you a bit of information about Norse mythology.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you just hear like a voice telling you these stories, almost like you're sitting at a campfire, right? And the elder is telling the children about like the myths and legends of the land or whatever. So you're walking around, you can hear this stuff. And at one part of the game, they talk about Boulder and how he couldn't feel pain and he couldn't die because his mother cast a spell.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like considering like the other games that have come out this year.
Yeah, and like, or it convinced everything in the land,
right,
except for mistletoe, I believe, that her son would be impervious to all, like to pain or to being mortally injured by anything. Right. And then I played another game later in the year, and I learned something.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, I totally know what's going on here."
I had the exact same moment as well because I was playing like said game like later on. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I know what's going to happen because like I learned all this stuff in that other game that I played. So it's interesting like how much history and like mythology and stuff you can pick up from games, because this happens to me every time I play an Assassin's Creed game. Like every time I finish an Assassin's Creed game, I pick up a history book based on whatever, right. And I learn a load of shit. But like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like I've been tempted to pick up like a couple of Norse mythology books because of these games. But yeah, totally.
And I mean, you're a big fan of all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
Norse mythology, like Celtic stuff. I know that's definitely in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing about Hellblade was just seeing a Celt in a game, because like you never ever see them ever. Like they're just never in games, and they're super cool as well, and like they're really well designed, and like the woaded face and all, and like they're just crazy all the time and stuff. Like I love that stuff.
And talking about graphics and faces, like this game is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It looks so good. I took so many photos in this game.
Less than 20 people made that game, man.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Like it makes no sense. It's like, how did you boys sleep? Jesus. Like how it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what they do, because that game it's great, and it's also a very easy platinum.
Right.
I got the platinum in that one. But yeah, it's great. That game is
amazing.
I liked the combat. A lot of people didn't like the combat. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was straightforward. I mean, it didn't try and overcomplicate itself. I think it did a decent job. I mean, I bet Sony Santa Monica was sweating when they played that game, because there was just so much in it. It was just like, oh shit, like people are going to think that we, played a lot of this game. But like timing wise, like they just had butted heads, and they didn't mean to like do all that stuff. But it's it's fascinating.
Totally. And great enemy design.
Oh yeah.
There's that one area where that you have to stay in the light, because if you go into the darkness for too long, this thing will come for you. Some scary shit.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially with like all the crazy voices, because she's schizophrenic and stuff, right? It's just
it's so effective. Yeah, so effective. And then quickly, I have to mention this game because it's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Bethesda games.
Right.
I've never played an Elder Scrolls game for some reason though. It's weird, I know, but I played Prey. If you are a System Shock fan, and I actually never played System Shock, or a BioShock fan, this game is amazing. Prey is so good. It did not, whatever year it came out, I think 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough people talked about this game. It is so good.
Yeah, I do want to pick this one up. I think it's actually on like PlayStation Now. I think they just added that to the list, and I'm subscribed to that, so I might download it.
Yeah, it's any other year it would probably get on my like top 10 list. There's just a lot of good games I played this year, but yeah, Prey is awesome. Okay, and Vin, how about you? What is your best 2017 game of 2018?
Right.
Sorry.
All these
That took a
years.
while.
What year is it? Yeah. My best 2017 game of 18 was Mario Odyssey. I spoke about it before. I probably shouldn't have done, but like for all them reasons which I listed before, like it's just super fun little game. I was really, really surprised by it. Like I didn't think I would enjoy it as much, but it was sort of the reason why I got a Switch, I guess, on top of like a few other games which I was either waiting for or eventually came out. And yeah, I mean, it's just fun. It's just charming. It's done something different. It's the first time I've really enjoyed a Mario game in got many years, I guess, like probably since Mario 64. It's probably the best one since then, I guess, I would say.
It's I mean, not controversial, but
debatable, I guess.
I think it's the best 3D Mario game ever made.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think. I mean, if I went back and played a Mario 64 now, I'd probably say that Odyssey is better, just purely because of like time is not friendly to video games. But
nope.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you've got a Switch and you haven't played this game, get out of bed and go and buy it. I guess. Like, yeah, it's just fun. It was really, really fun. It was charming. It was completely inoffensive, and the puzzles are great. Yeah, I don't know what more can be said about it. I mean, everyone banged on about it last year, and I was like, yeah, this game's probably going to be really good, and it was really good. Like, it totally lived up to what it was going to be. So, yeah, go out and play
it. Amazing. Actually, they keep releasing outfits for that game, and I'll go back in and spend like an hour getting coins just so I can buy it, just so that I can keep at 100% of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that deep in, I guess. I mean, because that is the thing. Like when it got to the end of the game, I was like, all right, should I go back to the other worlds? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave it and maybe go back to it in a couple of years, and then I'll do all that. I think that'd be a good thing to do. Because I do that with like a Game of the Year edition sometimes. Like I'll just not buy DLC and then I'll buy a Game of the Year edition again in like 3 years down the line.
Sure.
And blast through all of it then. So I'm probably going to do the same thing with Mario Odyssey. But yeah, great game.
Okay. Moving on to the next category. Games we need to play that we don't own. 2017 picks for me were Nier Automata, which I have played, and then SteamWorld Dig 2, which I haven't yet. Funny enough.
Oh, the irony.
So 2018, my runners-up are The Messenger and Far Cry 5. I like playing Far Cry games, even if they're Far Cry. They're Far Cry games.
Yeah.
Like I like the gameplay loop. And even if people say like, it's so, like I still like playing them.
Right.
So I'll pick that up at some point. The Messenger looks, Metroidvanias, love them. So
yeah, it does look pretty great.
Yeah. But my winner, a game that I don't own but I need to play, is Return of the Obra Dinn. Now it's only on PC right now. But just everything I've heard about this game and I've seen, like it just looks awesome.
Is it getting a console release, do you know?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of hype about a lot of people talking about the game.
I mean, if it gets enough attention, I guess they'll probably port it, although hire someone to port it, I guess. But
yeah, so yeah, I don't play games on my my PC or my Mac, so I'm waiting for the hopefully inevitable. That's like an oxymoron. Hopefully inevitable.
Yeah.
I hope they port it to the PS4, and if they do, I will definitely pick it up.
Sweet.
Yep. So how about you? What games do you need to play that you don't own?
All right. Last year it was Wolfenstein New Colossus. I did get around to playing that this year, and it was awesome. Cool. Like I just gotta love that game. It's great. Like it's just ridiculous and fun, and it's just you're just shooting Nazis, and it's all good. But yeah, that was last year. I did actually get around to finishing that, so that was a good one. But this year on my list is Detroit Become Human. I really want to play this game. Yeah, I mean, like it completely fell off my radar. I think like it just came out at a really bad time, I guess. But I've been listening to Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty's podcast. Like it's really, really good, by the way. If you don't listen to that, then you should get on it, especially if you're a PlayStation fan. But he's just constantly...
I enjoy it a lot. It's a good podcast.
Yeah, he just constantly bangs on about Detroit Become Human. Like the more he talks about it, it's like the more I remember. Like, oh yeah, I was excited about that game. It's just I totally forgot about it. But I think that's next on my list. Like I do really want to go around to that, because as bad as like the last David Cage game was, what was it, Beyond Two Souls or whatever? Like it wasn't bad. It was just it was average. But Heavy Rain was so good. Like I've got to give them boys another chance. So yeah, we'll see. But that's the next one on my list. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get around to it. I'm the same with you. Beyond Two Souls, I played a little bit of it, but I really liked Heavy Rain, so I'll give Detroit Become Human a chance.
Yeah.
All right. Next category. Games we haven't finished, but we really like.
Yeah.
2017 was Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. I actually checked my trophy list, and I beat it like January 3rd of 2018 or something like that. So I ended up beating that game. Absolutely love it.
Nice. Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Yep. Game's amazing. That the Hitler scene is so good.
It's gold. It's so good. I know exactly which one you're talking about already. You don't even have to.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, just even if you're not interested in the game whatsoever, like go on YouTube it. God, the Hitler scene. I'm sure it'll show up straight away. It's an audition. That's all I can say.
yeah. Just a Hitler in an audition. If that didn't, if you're not interested in looking that up on YouTube now, then I can't help you. So for 2018, surprise. Games that I haven't finished but I really like, Judge Eyes, or Judgment as it's going to be called, or as it is called for its Western release.
Right.
Ryuga Gotoku studios behind Yakuza. They made a game in the same engine as Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2. It's pretty much the same exact map as well. It's Kamurocho, modeled after Kabukicho in Tokyo. You play as a fallen, ex-lawyer fallen from grace who is now a private eye.
Of course.
And
this is so Japanese. I love it.
It's so Japanese. And it's basically the character is modeled after Kimutaku, who is, if you live in Japan, you know exactly who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is. Like as soon as I saw him, I was like, is that okay? And then like I looked it up and I was like, oh Jesus, yeah, this is gonna get rough.
He's a singer actor, famous for being in the boy band SMAP. It's a great name. And he actually played a private eye in this drama called Hero.
Of course.
Where he actually wears a leather jacket and jeans, and he wears the exact same leather jacket and jeans in the game too. So I think they just saw Hero and they're like, let's make a Yakuza game, but like with a private eye, and let's just steal that character from that show.
That's hilarious.
But it plays like a Yakuza game, but it's fresh because you're a private investigator. So it's
kind of turned the tables a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. You and the story is very, very Yakuza. Like someone is murdered, and there's just like this web of like lies and intrigue around like Yakuza,
of course,
fighting each other, and like you're trying to, as a private eye, you've kind of wedged in between this. You're trying to like solve these cases.
But it's got like all of like the silliness of Yakuza though, right? Like I think I saw like a video which you posted up from like when you take little short videos of from PlayStation games or whatever.
The skateboarding one,
right? Exactly, that's the one. And like I think you posted it up and I saw it and I was like, what is this game? Like what is this about? Like why is he skateboarding off the back of a taxi or some crazy stuff, and he's like ollieing over like trash bags and stuff. It's like, who the fuck? Oh, all right, this is crazy.
As Yakuza are chasing him down the street and shooting at him, which would never happen in Japan.
Yeah, it would just never happen. But it's just so ludicrous and so Japanese. But it does look super interesting. I'm probably gonna pick that one up when it comes over. I mean, it's got a Western release date, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's like summer maybe.
Okay, so it's out this year. That's good.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Right. What? My main issue with this is like, why didn't they just keep the name Judge Eyes? It's way more memorable than Judgment. Judgment just sounds like that sounds like the subtitle of a movie.
Yeah, maybe
like
Judge Eyes was taken.
I mean, Judge Eyes is a stupid name, but at least it's more memorable. But yeah, it's a Yakuza game all in but name. And it's really, really fun. But there's like the gameplay is different. Like you're a private eye, so there's like tailing missions,
right?
Where you have to walk around and hide behind stuff so that they don't spot you, and then you have to like take pictures to get proof for clients and stuff like that. It's awesome. And then my runner up is Owl Boy.
Oh, okay.
The Metroid, beautiful. What a beautiful game.
Yeah, I've played it. It's a great little game.
Yeah,
I've only interesting ideas behind it, but yeah.
Yeah, I played like 10 minutes of it, so I'll be finishing that. I'll be starting that up pretty soon. All right, and Vin, how about you? What's a game you haven't finished but you really like?
Yeah, and my 17 pick for this was Breath of the Wild, and I mean,
right.
yeah, I already spoke about that one, but yeah, I mean, But my 2018 one is actually Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is it's kind of weird because like
this
I'm
is
normally
interesting to me because last year you gave most disappointing of
yeah
2017 to Origins. So what's
right.
different about this one for you?
Just the story and the setting is just completely
Hmm.
different. And like a disclaimer here, like I worked on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I did a bit of like key art on the game, but like not for that reason at all. Like I actually played about 2 hours of it, and it was super fun. Like
Hmm.
I just thought like it's fresh, you know. Like it seems like they've ironed out a lot of the bugs that were in Assassin's Creed Odyssey Origin. Sorry, so I don't know. Like for the first few hours I've played of it, and they sort of start you off on a little island off the main sort of continent of the game, which is
Hmm.
it's set in Greece, and it's sort of like the tutorial area or whatever. But even just playing through that and finally getting onto the big island, like I got onto the main continent, and I was like, all right, I've got way too much work to do right now, so I'm going to stop playing this. But even just playing in that tutorial section for like the 4 hours, which I did, like I found it super interesting. So
Hmm.
yeah, I do. I really want to get back to it, and hopefully it's not got the same issues as which I had with Origins, which was mostly to do with like the locking off of the areas by like level stats and stuff like that, because it's now an RPG. It's not an action adventure game anymore. Like they've just completely shifted that off, and that's probably because of like games like Watch Dogs or whatever, like where that is now the action adventure game, and they don't want to like conflict with each other, I guess. So but yeah, Assassin's Creed is now an RPG, so it's like it's still a learning curve behind that. But yeah, from what I played of it, I've really enjoyed it so far, and the setting's just super interesting to me. So looking forward to jumping back in eventually when I get around to it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me last year that I would probably like Origins, but now that this game is out, I've been kind of thinking like, well, which one should I pick up?
I
Because there's
would
such
say
massive games.
I would say skip Origins, just go straight to Odyssey. I mean,
Okay,
there's no continuity between them as far as I know, and
right.
yeah, I mean, if it's the same basic mechanics behind it, it's just different setting and story.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would get the updated version.
Yeah, and they're still like updating the game. Like they just introduced like a level tweaking system because people were complaining about like enemy levels like
Yeah,
later in the game or something like that. So
yeah,
yeah, it might be a good time to jump in.
they pretty much never stop working on them games, and it's kind of interesting because like all of the Origin stuff, like the late Origin stuff, like all the DLC that came out, like got really well received. Like a lot
Yeah,
of like the battles of the pharaohs, also like I didn't play them. I don't even know what they were called, but I remember like reading some articles on them, and they were just like people were like saying they were awesome, and I was like, oh, dope. Like I didn't even know they were still working on them things, but you know, more power to them. But they'll do the
yeah.
same with Odyssey, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in picking it up probably later this year if I can. I said that about Origins and I never did, but we'll see what
Right.
happens.
Yeah. I mean, they're huge games, man. Like
Right.
I wouldn't fault you for skipping them because of how big they are.
Right. All right. Moving on to our next category, best old game of 2018, and this is so we had the best 2017 game of 2018. This is just like if you played an old game like 2016 or 15
Yeah.
or earlier.
Super old. Yeah.
Yeah, just you just picked up a game that came out years and years ago, and you're just like, oh wow, why didn't I play this when it first came out? For me, it was The Witcher 3 plus all the DLC for 2017, and this year it's The Last of Us Left Behind,
Have you never played this
which
one?
I never played it. No, I
Ah,
never did. I have no idea why.
interesting.
And it was sitting on my hard drive, and I'm like, I need to play this. And the second I got into it, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for The Last of Us Part 2. This game is
Yeah.
awesome.
No, that's actually a really good sort of refresher to play because that's gonna
Yep.
sort of get you ready for Last of Us Part 2, I guess. Yeah, it's decent. But yeah, it's a great little expansion. It's only like 2 hours long or something, but like it's non-stop, like an assault on your senses. You're just like, okay, like there's something constantly going on, and it's fun. Like compared to like the main game, like there's a lot of like intimate moments and stuff where it's like you're playing like you're like stuck in this mall, right, and you're running around and you're putting on masks and you're playing games and stuff and you're dancing to music. It's just completely different to what you're used to. But then like the horror of it sort of comes to a close at the end of it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely a good inclusion of the Last of Us sort of franchise, and hopefully they'll do something else for the part 2 in similar sort of vein.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so Vin, what is your best old game?
Best old game. I'm going to cheat on this one because I didn't play anything that was old this year,
Okay.
like at all. Like I've just had a super busy year, and that's probably I'm gonna repeat that quite a bit because like this year has just been crazy for me. I've only actually played like games for about 4 months of the year, like really.
Sure.
So like I replayed an old game which I hadn't played in a while because I finally got around to the whole micro console like thing, and I got into like classic consoles, and I picked up a PS1 classic, and I replayed a Metal Gear Solid 1, and
you played through the whole thing
all the way through, yeah. And
wow.
like my wife Rachel, she was just sat there laughing at me like, "What the fuck is this game? This is ridiculous!" Like listening to the script, and it's completely ludicrous. And like looking at it as an adult, like as a 31-year-old man, you're just reading this shit. You're like, "Who wrote this stuff, man? It's garbage." But it's so good. It's really, really good, and it's totally holds up like gameplay wise. Like I was super afraid that it was going to be really bad, but like most of it is good. You know, it still holds up like a really decent game. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, you know who? For how ridiculous the game is and like the dialogue delivery, like Liquid Snake owns that part so.
Oh yeah,
so hard.
He leans into that shit. It's awesome. It was funny because spoiler alert for Metal Gear Solid 1, I guess, but like towards the end of the game, you know, when he reveals himself, you know, at that moment, and it's like, and he goes outside of the control room after he's revealed himself, and Liquid stood there, but he's got no shirt on for some random reason. And like, my wife's like shouting at him, it's like, why has he got no shirt on? And I'm like, I've no idea. Actually, that's a really good point. I'd never questioned this. Like in my 30 years, like my 31 years upon this planet, it's crazy. But like, there's so many moments like that just don't make sense. But it's such a great game.
With if there's any why. Insert question here towards a Metal Gear game. There's two answers. One is
Kojima.
It's Metal Gear,
right?
Or yeah, actually, there's three. Yeah. The answers are it's a Metal Gear game. The other one is it's a Kojima game, and the third one is it's nanotechnology.
Right.
Those are the three answers to any why question.
It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Actually, I was not planning on getting a PlayStation Classic, and I got one for free.
Oh, nice.
Weirdly enough, my friend's
it's probably about nephew, as much as it's worth based on all the reviews. So.
Here's a funny thing if you want to tap into the what the kids are all about these days.
All right.
During a New Year's like bingo kind of thing, my friend's nephew won it in this kind of this raffle.
Nice.
It wasn't bingo, and he was like, I don't want this.
Wow.
He was not even interested in playing it.
That's insane.
So my friend doesn't play video games either. They're like, oh, my friend Evan, he's a big gamer, and the kid, I think he's like 15. No, I think he's 16.
And he was just crazy.
And he was just like, all right, give it to him. Just gave it to me. He wasn't even interested in playing it.
That's insane. I would have given it him back and be like, you go home and do your homework, son.
So I actually it's just sitting over there. I can see it. I might give MGS one a.
You should, man. It actually really, really holds up. Like the next one that I'm playing at the minute is Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
But I got about 4 hours into that one, and I've put it on pause because I'm going to go back, and I've got like a New Year's resolution where I'm going to go and play every like Final Fantasy from Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 12. Like that's what I want to do. So yeah, I'm like almost done with Final Fantasy 1 already. Like I'm playing that on the Vita right now. So yeah, I'll get around to it. But yeah, I mean the classic's decent. Like whatever. I mean, if you're into the games that are on the list, then buy it. If you're not, then don't buy it. Like duh. Like it's super simple. But yeah, I played the shit out of MGS1. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, you know what I just realized? I have the Japanese PlayStation Classic.
That's got MGS1 on too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing MGS1 in Japanese, I guess.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting, yeah. That would be cool.
I've never, and Final Fantasy VII as well. I haven't played either of those in Japanese.
Yeah, I heard the translation for 7 was kind of botched a little bit, so you might get like the better experience or whatever, like they call it, like all the fucking like crazy Japanese JRPG fans or whatever.
Whatever. You know, the writing in a lot of those Final Fantasy games is not that good, anyways.
Right.
But
yeah.
The overall stories are interesting, but some of the dialogue is pretty. It's not
for sure.
All right. Moving on to the next category, biggest backlog shame.
Yeah.
Now, for 2017, mine was Persona 5.
Yeah.
You might be surprised to believe that I haven't played it since I put it on that category 2 years ago.
You still haven't played it.
Still haven't played it.
It's funny about this. The funny thing about Persona 5 is that you bought it early. Like, you got it like day one, the Japanese release. So you got it like a year before everyone else, and you were like joking about it on the podcast, like, yeah, I'm playing Persona 5, and everyone was super jealous, and you still haven't played it. Like, that's hilarious.
Still, yeah. I need to. I don't know. I need to figure some things out.
All right. Well, what's your 18 one?
My 18 is Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Now, I remember you and I recorded our reactions to E3 2016, was it?
Correct. Yeah, it was 16.
Yeah, and you and I remember watching the reveal of RE7, and like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up when that logo popped.
that we freaked out because that was came out of nowhere, and it got really well received as well. So rightfully so, I guess.
And I played through the demo like 3 or 4 times. Like I absolutely loved it. I own it. I bought it on sale sometime last year. I just haven't played it yet. Yeah. So I definitely need to get around to that. And my runner-up is Symphony of the Night. I've never beaten Symphony of the Night.
Oh, really? What? Oh, you mean like the PS1 classic version, or you mean?
Oh, I bought the Castlevania Requiem pack.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which is Rondo of Blood, and yeah. So I will definitely get around it. I've beaten Castlevania 1, 2. Couldn't beat 3. I'm not good enough to beat it. I've beaten all the GBA games and the DS games.
God, you played more than I have already.
But it's Metroidvania. Some would say the first. So
yeah. They pretty much invented the genre, so yeah.
Yeah, I have to play it. So, all right. And what is your biggest backlog shame of 2018?
Yeah, I have a similar situation to you. In 2017, I picked Dishonored 2. I still haven't finished it. I still haven't even started it, actually.
Dude,
no,
I haven't. Yeah.
I think I played like an hour of it or something, and I was just like, yeah, this is good. Like, I want to get around to this, and it just never happened, man. It just never happened. So, but yeah, here we are, another year, another backlog of shame to add to the pile. But this year, 2018, ironically enough, is Persona 5.
Oh, funny. That's really funny.
Ironic. I mean, because last year was the first year I played Persona 4.
That's right. That was in the categories last year.
Yeah, and I dumped like 100 hours into it, and I loved the shit out of it. I thought it was awesome because I didn't want to play that game while I was still living in Japan, just because of how it was eerily similar to like my daily life at that point, because I was just going back and forth to school.
It's like PTSD or something.
Right. It's horrible. Just don't do it if you're living in Japan, I guess. But like after I moved to the States and like I pulled it up on my Vita and I was playing through it, I just got hooked on it. I was just completely obsessed. Played like 100 hours of it. Bought Persona 5 straight away, and just I've played about 4 hours of Persona 5 and I was like, I can't get into this right now. Like, it's just going to absorb me, and just I haven't touched it since. So, but there is like rumors coming out that it might be coming out on Switch, which is probably a pretty good bet considering it's one of the Smash characters now, and there's been hints of it. So I might wait for that and start playing it again.
It's perfect for the Switch as well. Like, and you played 4 on your Vita, so you'd be right at home playing this.
I mean, I played it on the Vita, and I was constantly like on the treadmill playing it as well, which was it was a great treadmill game. So I might wait for the Switch version to do the same thing.
Sure.
But yeah, that's my pick for 2018 for Backlog of Shame.
All right, and then switching gears for one category, we thought we'd just award something outside of gaming. So we do a best thing outside of gaming award for 2017. For me, it was Black Mirror, Game of Thrones, and jogging. Is that
of course.
Did I actually put that?
You put jogging.
Yeah. Speaking of Game of Thrones, it's coming this year. Can't wait.
Is it coming in winter? Is winter is winter coming? Sorry, that was a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, insert stupid Trump
political
joke.
jump. Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah. What a moron. All right. So yeah, those were my top things, best things outside of game for 2017, and for 2018, it was going home for the summer, and changing jobs. So a lot of people who teach in Japan work through a dispatch company, and the dispatch company is the middleman. So they take a cut of pay to dispatch you through the Board of Education to schools. So you end up not making that much money. I got directly hired by a school
Nice.
last year, which means I get all of the money. So yeah, I finally moved up one step on the ladder of life. And yeah, it's been nice. It's been a good job. It's a very nice facility. Everything at our school is Apple. So I use an iMac now.
What? You're like in the 21st century in a Japanese school? Like how much?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? Like I had a computer from like the 90s or something when I was working in Japanese high school.
It's all that
middle school,
all that university money.
Oh yeah, of course you work in a university. I forgot.
It's like a rich kid school. So like all the kids are required. They're required to buy an iPad.
Wow, you sound like it. To be like, I know, like as someone that's like directly been in your situation, I guess. I know like how good you've got it right now. So well played. Like I can actually congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, all right, everyone, get out your iPads, and I'm like walking around. I'm
checking.
I'm walking around the class, and like there's a TV screen behind the whiteboard. You just slide it open, and I'm like showing them keynote slides, and I'm just using my iPad. It's connected to an Apple TV in the class.
That's
like
wild.
I'm doing my like keynote presentation while I'm walking around with an iPad. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, there was that, and then going home for the summer, which I just mentioned, because I live in Japan. It's expensive to go home. I probably do it every 2 or 3 years. So I was able to go back and leave the wretched, humid summer of Japan behind.
Yeah, you got out, man. That's good.
Yeah, and go to the crisp, like lovely 72-degree dry weather of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Got to drink. I think I like got off the plane and immediately got a burrito and like a craft beer or something. Like I was
good,
like,
man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even care. I was like, I'm going to eat everything and gain a bunch of weight. And then when I go back to Japan, I'll just naturally lose it all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a good plan.
Changing jobs and going home for the summer. Best things outside of gaming. And how about you, Vin?
Pretty similar things, actually. Like I got a new job. I finally got a job at Ubisoft in Montreal. So that's actually where I am. I literally moved here this week. But I got the job in like June, and I've been basically working remotely over the past 6 months. And now that I'm finally here, I actually start on Monday. Like I'll be in the studio on Monday. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things. I worked my ass off last year to finally like get to where I needed to be. So yeah, that's really worked out. But what came with that obviously came another fucking move, because like if anyone listens to this podcast long term, they know like how many times I've moved. But yeah,
it was a running joke.
Right, it is a running joke, but it continues. Like the joke continues because I just moved to Canada. But I have to say, I've lived in the UK. Obviously, I'm from there. I've lived in Japan. I've lived in America, and now I'm living in Canada. First impressions, awesome. Like this is probably, if it carries on the way it's already started, then it's probably going to be one of the best places I've ever lived. Like it's a really, really beautiful country, and the city that I'm in, which is Montreal, is absolutely stunning. And I look forward to sort of exploring a bit more of that. But outside of like moving and jobs and all that sort of stuff, like on the side, I've been finally putting my coding into practice. Like I've been learning how to program over the last couple of years.
That's cool.
And I finally like gotten to the point where I can actually start making stuff move in like a game engine and stuff, and it actually makes sense and it works. Like I click buttons and it's like, hey, it did what I wanted it to do. So
nice.
Yeah, there was
that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've been meaning to get on that for a while, and I finally, like last year, we released the first sort of mobile game which I ever designed, which was Last Line of Retreat. Like, don't go and download it because no one else has, I guess. But I mean, it's all right. Like, I mean, it's a fun little time waster. But yeah, I mean, I learned a ton from that, like with the team that I was working with. But now I've got another game which I'm working on, which is sort of just going to be completely solo. So it'll be nice to finally put my coding practice into motion. So yeah, I mean, it's been a super productive year, I guess, for me, and I hope like this year is going to be the same, but it's probably not going to be the case. I'm probably just going to get into studio and just steamroll ahead with the project that we're on, which hasn't been announced yet, so I can't even talk about it. But yeah, I mean, super fun stuff.
Well, yeah, big moves in 2018, figuratively and literally.
Oh yeah,
for both of us. So yeah, I think the lack of games that you played last year is testament to how busy you've been.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome that you got that job. I'm really happy for you.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, same for you, man. I mean, getting a city job or like directly through the Board of Education is no small feat. So well played.
No, not at all. I'm happy. It took me 6.5 years, but I finally did it.
Yep.
All right, moving back into games.
Way.
Now we're gonna get to some of the good stuff. That's not to say that everything we've talked about for the last 2 hours hasn't been good, but yeah. I'll let the listeners be the judge of that.
Right.
Okay. Our next category is games we didn't get / games that we think are overrated. This is a new category. We did not do this category last year. I know on Sifted and a lot of other podcasts, I'm sure, have this category. So I just thought I would put it in here so I can trash a couple games and make myself feel better.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah. I have 3 on this list, and I still don't know which one wins, but the 3 games that I didn't get, that I played, I beat them all. Is Titanfall 2 single player campaign, Nier Automata, and Undertale.
Right.
Titanfall 2. I don't get it. Like, there's some cool set pieces.
Yeah.
Like there's a set piece where you're like, or a level when you're in a factory that's like making like prefab houses.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
To be like sent to, I assume, like other worlds for people to colonize or something. And so like you're going through this factory as they're like making these prefab houses, and you're like jumping in like these houses as these giant robots are like, or these robot hands are making them, and you're having shootouts and stuff. That was cool. The level where like you can switch, it's like you get an object that allows you to go back in time.
Right, and you can switch between them, right? You like toggle it through 2 different time zones.
Right, and for example, there's a part where you go down this massive hole, and in the future or in the present time, there's like parts where it's like it's on fire. But if and as you're going down, you see the wave of fire. You switch to the past, and there's no fire, and so like you pass through the fire.
Yeah,
and then there's like a fan blocking it. Switch back to the present where the fan has been broken, and you just keep switching back and forth as you're going down and figuring out the puzzle. I just thought it was kind of boring, and I think the movement, like the double jumping and the wall jumping stuff, felt like I was like fucking jumping on marshmallows. It didn't feel tight, and I think the story is kind of lame. Like they do the whole you bond with your Titan, and then it dies only to come back again. So they just totally like made the sacrifice.
It was. I'll give you this.
It was meaningless.
It was very very tropey as well, I guess. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, I sort of enjoyed the game, but like I totally respect like what you're saying as well. Like I totally agree. Like I can see why you would find it like sort of boring in that respect.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone was talking, and I know like the game is more. It's a online competitive multiplayer game, and that's where the game shows its strength,
right?
As most of those types of games do. But everyone was talking about this. This is the best single player game, and that added to a multiplayer centric game ever. And I played it, and it's like I played tons of shooters, single player shooters, and I just played it. I'm like, this is okay,
right?
And then quickly, Nier Automata. I did a full podcast trashing this game earlier last year. I think it's insanely overrated.
Okay.
The story is really good. The story, it's just about like what is sentience, what is a soul, what is the meaning of life, and how we as sentient beings kind of create myths that help us understand why we're here,
right?
Why we're alive.
Like it's already blown my mind.
Insert religion here, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of asks those questions, and it goes in some interesting directions, because you have to play through the game. Technically, you have to beat A through E. So you have to play through the game 5 times to get the full story, and then there's like 26 actual endings based on like all the letters of the alphabet. I had my fucking fill with that game, and I just thought it was. You know what I've realized, Vin, is I hate boring games more than I hate bad games.
You know what? I've kind of gotten to the same point with games that hold my hand. Like I get to the point where I'm just like, this is like a new frustration which I've grown recently. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, I remember that there was the second Tomb Raider game, which I really
I still
liked.
haven't finished. Yeah, I still haven't finished it.
You stopped. I remember you stopped because it kept giving you tutorials and holding.
Yeah,
your
it's
hand throughout the
interesting that you say that because like I've played games like retroactively. Like I've been playing Uncharted again recently. Like I'm trying to get all the platinums on like the collection or whatever.
Nice.
And I've been playing that, and like even moments in that game, I'm just like, stop fucking telling me what to do. Like it's like it really arcs me like when it happens. But yeah,
are you talking about Red Dead 2 or are you talking about another game?
Uncharted 2. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, I was trying to make a joke.
Oh, okay. I see what you did. All right, I got it. Ha! Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, so I guess in the same way, like that type of thing, the hand holding pushes you away from a game.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that's why I trashed the Harry Potter Lego game. It's not a bad game. It's just so fucking boring.
It's mindless,
that it starts wasting my time.
Yeah, you can't even think for yourself. It's horrible.
Yeah,
which is the opposite to what a video game is supposed to do.
Right. And I think Nier Automata is super boring, and it makes you play through the same sections. It's like in the game, like you get halfway through the game, and then you can fast travel. But then when you get to the story B, because you're starting from the beginning of the game again, it takes the fast travel away. It's like, I already did this. I already walked across the map. Like I have to do that again and wait for fast travel to get fast travel halfway through the game again. It's like, oh my God. But anyways, the last one is Undertale. I didn't get it. I platinumed Undertale. It's a really easy platinum. I thought the battle system sucked, where it's like bullet hell, but also an RPG, and the fact that like you're supposed to be able to do this pacifist run and not kill any of the enemies that you encounter, but it's like super hard to do that because each enemy you have to do specific things to the enemy, like talk to it or give it stuff to allow the battle to end without killing them. And killing them is the easiest way to do it. It's like, okay, say what you want about what that means about games. It's turning the whole JRPG mechanic on its head.
Right.
But at the end of the game, they kind of slap you on the wrist and they're just like, you shouldn't have killed anyone. It's like, but it's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't judge me for doing that when that's the easy way to do it. And don't like try to connect that to real life, because actually not killing someone is the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Hurting someone or punching someone or being mean to someone or inflicting damage in some way is actually a lot harder than just being a nice person. So I don't know.
Right.
I didn't get it.
No, I know what you mean. Like a lot of people spoke about that game like really, really highly. And I've tried to like play it like 3 times now, and every time I go play it, I'm just like, I get half an hour into it, I'm like, okay. Like I will finish it one day because like the sheer amount of people like give it good praise. But I'll get to it one day. But I totally see what you're saying.
And there's a sequence at the end that kept going and going and going. I thought the game hit a glitch. And I was like, this is so long. Like, why is this game doing this? I did not get it. All right. So what about you? What 2018 game didn't you get?
Yeah, I mean, I've been going back and forth, and I've just changed it again because like I was thinking about it, and it's like the more you're talking about this stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay. But one game I just didn't get, and everyone gave it like praise. I think it got like 9 out of 10s on pretty much every outlet. But Monster Hunter, like I just could not get into this game like properly. Monster Hunter World, I mean, everyone loved it. It's a complete sort of refresh. It's one of the first like console Monster Hunter games that has come. Sorry, there's totally like loud people outside my apartment right now, but but yeah, like Monster Hunter World, it's just super archaic in some respects, but really fresh in others. Like everything about the game, I love everything about the game. Like I love the main mechanic of basically hunting monsters, using their parts to create new pieces of armor. I really like the hub world that's in there. It's super like really, it's inoffensive like and cute, like the way everything sort of looks and how everything is, and you get really good feelings from it and stuff. And it's a really, really fun game. But then when you get to the main hunts, it's just so fucking boring. It just takes so long to actually take down monsters, and I just don't get it. Like and I was going into forums and stuff. It's like, does it really need to take like half an hour to just swing at the ankles of like these monsters? And everyone was like, yeah, you know, when you get good, like when you get to hour 50, like you can take them down in like 20 minutes. And it's like, fuck this game. Like, I'm not playing this. Like, this is awful. And I just don't get it. Like, and everyone loved it and praised it and sunk like 150 hours into it and gave it like 9 and 10s out of 10. And it's just, I just don't get it. Like, it's just crazy to me, like how you can find enjoyment of just swinging at the ankles of monsters. Because everything else about the game is totally streamlined and fun. But it's just that one mechanic. It's just unfortunate that's the core mechanic, like the actual main purpose of the game, and it completely wrecked it for me. But that's my pick. Unfortunately, like I know people are going to hate me for that, and they're going to call me a noob, and like I don't understand what Monster Hunter is and stuff, and I get that, but I just don't. I don't find enjoyment at swinging at the ankles, and even when you do quote unquote get good at the game, like it still takes 20 minutes. Because like when you're actually attacking them, like it gets to a point where they've taken enough hits from you, and then they run away to another area in the map, and you got to chase them, and then do the same thing again. And then they run away again, and you're just chasing them around the map, and it's like, oh, this is so boring. But all the other little enemies around you like can be done in like a couple of hits, and they're super fun. But yeah, I don't know. I would have preferred it like if the enemies did twice as much damage to you, and you did twice as much damage to them. But that's my pet peeve. There you go.
Yeah, I played the demo, and I did not like how the controls constantly changed depending on the context.
Right.
I felt like I needed like 2 extra arms to like be able to wrap my head around these controls. And I guess, of course, the more you play the game, the more you'll get used to that stuff. But I was just like, for the same reasons that you've listed, I'm just whacking at this thing for 20 minutes. I'm like, am I hurting it? Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, it's not inherently a bad game. Like, and I get, like, it's for certain people. I'm just not one of them people, you know? Like, it really isn't a bad game. Like, I wouldn't put it on, like, a terrible games list or anything. It wouldn't be, like, my worst game of the year or anything. But it's just, I just don't get it, you know? Like, as the category says, like, it just seems, like, totally weird to me. It's alien, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get it either. Okay, so moving on to the next category, our biggest disappointment of 2018.
This is going to be contentious. All right.
Yeah, this is a good one. Actually, let's. How do we do this? I guess I could go first. I'll go first. Right. 2017 was Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yeah, fair enough.
The runner-up was Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Mm-hmm. Of course, I just didn't like the hub world in Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Repeating the same.
Yeah, fair enough.
Parkouring sections over and over. My 2018 biggest disappointment is Ni no Kuni 2,
Ooh.
Revenant Kingdom. Now, this is coming from someone who I loved the first Ni no Kuni. I thought it was an amazing JRPG. And I think that game, contrary to what most people have said about 2, is where they didn't like 1 but ended up liking 2 because it improved on all the things that the first game introduced. Right. I think Ni no Kuni 1 did everything better than Ni no Kuni 2.
Interesting. What's like the most egregious like point of Ni no Kuni 2 to you, like compared to the first one then?
It's fucking boring.
Right, fair enough.
Dude. So yeah, that's when I started looking at the games that I didn't like. I just realized games that I just
found boring
are boring. Yeah. No, you know how like Pokemon games are not supposed to be difficult, and that's fine.
Yeah,
they can be fun. Like I understand, like games don't have to be challenging in order to be fun. Right. Sometimes you want to turn your brain off and just play a game. You know, that's like walking simulators. You just walking around and there's not really that much.
I'm all good with them sort of games. I'm all
one.
good with them sort of games if they allow me to do other stuff at the same time. So like if I can watch like a TV show or something and play whatever game like on my handheld, right. And I'm totally cool with that. Like be as mindless as you want, as boring as you want, because I'm just playing it. Like because I'm doing that with Final Fantasy 1 right now. Final Fantasy 1 is an awfully boring game. Like it's terrible. Like there's a good reason why it was the first one, and it was made like 31 years ago. But like I've been enjoying it because it's mindless and I've been playing it while doing other stuff. But if it's trying to keep your attention like a game like Ni no Kuni 2, I guess, like that's bad. Like if it is boring.
Yeah, and some people might be wondering like why. One reason, and this is as I alluded to slightly, it's too easy.
Right.
And I do not, aside from Pokemon, I think Pokemon is the exception to the rule. I want my JRPGs to be challenging.
Right.
Like the main hook of a JRPG, of course, there's story, but is the combat system.
Right.
Like that's most of what you're doing in that game is fighting.
Yeah.
And this game is so fucking easy, which they actually patched to make more difficult later. I played it before the patch, so I'm sorry I can't.
Yeah, you got to judge it based on what you played.
Yeah. I died once in this game, and that's only because there's like these special monsters that have this like purple aura around them to signify like they're really, really difficult.
Right.
And I was just bulldozing this game for so long. I'm like, can you die in this game?
It's kind of like that.
And this guy was
like that in Pokemon
15.
Go.
Yeah,
same thing.
But it was this like special monster was like 15 levels above me. I'm like, I'm just gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
And so I tried to fight it, and it killed me. But that was the only time I ever died in the game. But it's not to say that it's just easy. There's nothing to do in the in combat. Like, it's not turn based. You hit square to attack, and then you have these meters build up. And if your swords hit 100% on the meter, you can do special attacks.
Right.
And that's it. You don't have to do anything. Like I played as Roland, which is the president of the United States, who gets spirited away to this.
Jesus Christ!
This world.
Serious?
Yeah.
Now I've got to play it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you play as the president of the United States.
Yeah.
And you think in a game where
does he have really?
Like,
does the president have like really good defense? Because he's got like really good walls and stuff. Oh, sorry, that was awful. That was so bad.
He's got a ponytail.
Of course he does. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got a sweet ponytail. But you think in a game where the main character's name is King Evan that I would like
That's
it.
Great.
But actually, Evan kind of sucks. Evan does suck. No, so the game is it looks beautiful.
Yeah, that is one thing. The trailers,
stunning.
like when I saw them for the first time when the game got announced, I was like, "Damn, that looks like an anime. That looks awesome."
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
looks
surprising.
Great. The story's really dumb because the whole thing is like, there's a coup d'état and Evan has to escape, and he sets out to build his own kingdom, and so the whole game is like, I'm going to build the best kingdom ever. That was what accent was that?
That was amazing, actually. That was probably the best British accent I've ever heard from an American. So well played, sir. I'll give you that one.
So the goal of the game is he wants to make a world without war. Right.
Good luck with that. And then he goes to fight monsters. Right. Yeah. Okay.
No, and you playing as the president of the United States is like, that's not happening. Right. We're going to fucking drop those bombs on those bastards. No, that he didn't say that. But so the reason that I don't like this game is, one, it's too easy. And then in combat, there's no challenge. Like you can literally just hit square the entire time. And then, my meter's full, hit triangle. And you like the only attack I ever use is this, like, it has super wide range. You do this like the sword spin and it'll just like kill everyone. But the other thing that I like about JRPGs is like this sense of exploration where, like, look at Final Fantasy VII. When you finally get out of Midgar, you're like, oh my God, there's this entire world for me to explore.
Yeah, it blows your mind, yeah.
And at first, like, you don't have any way you have to go on foot. And so, like, do you remember, Vin, in like every JRPG, specifically Final Fantasy, once you get the airship?
The first airship. Yeah, it's like the greatest moment in the world.
Because it took so long and you feel like you earned it.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. So what happens in this game is, and some people might say that this is more of like a what do they call it? Not a quality of life. Quality of life improvements in a game. Yeah. So anytime you get to a new area, you can activate a fast point travel. Not only that, you can within towns.
Wait, there's a fast travel system in a JRPG.
Yeah. But not only that, in towns there are fast travel points.
What you mean, like between the screens of the town and stuff?
Yeah, well, usually the towns are just like one screen, but like in a town there'll be like 5.
That's wild.
So what when it ends up happening is, like, the second you start unlocking these fast travel points, there is no need to like explore the world.
Yeah, I can already imagine that. Like, I haven't played the game, but I can imagine it's like, all right, I need to go to X town. Okay, fast travel there, and then you get to the town. Like, okay, go into the menu, fast travel to like the other side of that town, and then do what you need to do, and then get out, and then fast travel back to where you needed to go.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
That's
it's
ridiculous.
Like when you get,
why would you do that?
When you finally get the airship, it's like it doesn't matter because I can already like warp across the world in 5 seconds.
Right.
So there's never this moment of like, and in the first Ni no Kuni, you finally get a dragon.
Yeah,
you can,
I remember that moment.
and then you can explore the world, and you can like find all these new areas you'd never gone to, and that's like completely non-existent in this game because of that. And one way that the game really, you realize this, is there's so much fucking collectathon stuff in this game.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's one of those, in the worst way, where you need to get something and someone's like, well, I'll give it to you, but you need to do this for me. So they're like, go here, and instead of traveling there and like grinding a bit, on the world map and then getting to the town, I just fast travel. Right. And this guy's like, oh, you need this, I'll give it to you, but you need to do something for me.
Jesus.
Go here. And you start, like, it's just like you take like 5 steps back to collect like really, really arbitrary things to get the thing that the guy wants, so that you can get that and then go to the lady who you need the one thing for. And it's like, all I needed was this thing from the lady, but this took 5 hours because I kept going 5 steps back to collect things for like 5 other people in order to get the thing that she wanted in the first place.
That's sad. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of that in the game. And there's a couple, every town is like, there's something different about the town. Like there's a town where everything is based on the roll of a die. Or I think there might be dice.
Okay.
I think there's 2. And like their rent is like based on this dice. It happens like every month. It rolls it, and then like you get there, and it's like there's this giant event, and like the townspeople come. They're like, all right, like we let's hope that our rent's lower this year, and then like, or this month. And he rolls it. They're like, oh, it's a 6 pops up. It's like, oh, it's 6 times higher than it should be. It's like, man, that's the fifth month in a row. And then you find out like like the leader of the kingdom has been fixing the dice so that he can collect the money, and it's like, everyone is obsessed with gambling in this town.
That's weird.
And it's like it's super interesting.
Right.
But then like you end up figuring out what to do like really, really quickly. And the story, there's never any payoff for the initial interesting setup to each town.
Oh, okay.
And it just kind of, it's over before it really starts. And then you just find out like, oh, the king, he wasn't greedy. He was being manipulated by the main bad guy. And then you go to another town, it's like, oh, that person wasn't bad. They were being like, there's no responsibility put on anything that anyone's doing. It's all just the main bad guy who's been doing it. So it's like, I just thought it's just disappointing.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah,
I haven't played it yet.
So,
I played the first game. I was interested in this one, but like after your like grievances, I mean, it might be better now that they've like maybe bumped up the difficulty, like you said. But I'm not going to judge it based on like what it is now, but I'll judge it based on what it was, I guess. But yeah, that's a shame. I mean, because people were really excited about that one.
Yeah, just like you go to this town and there's an interesting setup and there's just no payoff for what's going on there.
Right.
And it's easy, it's boring, you can fast travel everywhere. And then you have to like, there's this kingdom building mini game, and then halfway through the game it's like, no, you can't progress until you build this specific building.
Ugh.
But to get the building, you have to employ people into the building. And it's like, where are those people? Oh, you have to do like 5 side quests first. So just like you're going, and it just puts a brick wall in front of you. It's like, no, go out and do these side quests, or you can't progress in the game. It's like, oh my God, this sucks.
That's a shame.
So yeah, I was very disappointed in that game. Yeah. And my runner-up is Octopath Traveler. Very, very quickly, the battle system's awesome in that game. That's what kept me playing it for 80 hours. But I think all of the 8 stories, there's 4 chapters to each story. All 8 stories are super disappointing. The last chapter is like, I think they're all pretty lame.
Right. I've heard the same complaint. Like a lot of people said, like the game's beautiful, like the gameplay is really good and all that sort of stuff. Everything's really interesting, but there's like the stories themselves within the characters, like only half of them are decent and none of them really shine. Like so I've heard. So
no, they don't.
Yeah. I still haven't picked it up for that reason, because like I listened to a lot of people on podcasts and I read a lot of reviews, because I was really close to pulling the trigger on it, because I wanted something to play on my Switch, because there's just nothing to play on it 9 times out of 10. And that was one that I was really interested in, but yeah, I just haven't pulled the trigger on it because of that. And I'll pick it up on a sale, but yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's I just think that there's a lot of promise in the stories, and then just everything falls apart in every single person's chapter 4.
Right.
The battle system's awesome though, so if you can pick it up on a sale, I would say it's worth that. Yeah. But I was just a bit disappointed in the overall package. All right. So how about you? What is your biggest disappointment of 2018?
Yeah, I mean, 2017, I had Assassin's Creed Origins, like we spoke about before, because
that's right.
Yeah, I think like the main issues which I had with it. I mean, I finished it since I think I might have finished it like at the time, but like upon reflection, like having a year like to think about it, I guess. Like the game's not bad. Like it's like I said last year. Like I think you would enjoy it. It seems like up your alley, I guess. But I would say try out Odyssey instead, because it's a bit more refined, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I still feel pretty much the same way, like on reflection. But this year is probably going to be like, I'm probably going to get a bit of heat for this, and a lot of people are going to like say, you're wrong, which is, fair enough, to each their own. But I didn't really play many games this year, so like every game that I played, I was super specific, like, and I checked every single review sort of thing, because I didn't want to waste any time. And the only real disappointing game which I really played was Red Dead Redemption 2. Like that was, yeah, it's the big one.
Dun, 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 dun.
I know, and not to say it's a bad game. This is like the massive disclosure, right? Like it's not a bad game. It's beautifully made. It's stunning. Like just to look at, you can just walk around that world and all the micromanaging and stuff. It's super interesting, like all the stuff that they did with it. But just compared to Red Dead Redemption 1, I just found it really, really boring. Like it just didn't really, like the pacing of the game wasn't really the same as the first game. It just felt really, really slow. It felt like the developers really wanted you to get in touch with like the nuances of the game instead of the main story of the game most of the time. And like the first few times that you like skin an animal or like stuff like that, like that's super interesting. Like you have to hunt it, but there's just so much of that stuff. It sort of bogs it down to the point that the realism is getting in the way of the rest of the game. And that's the only way I can really describe why I'm disappointed in the game, because it after a while, it's no longer a game. It's like this weird sort of cowboy experience, which, like people are totally into that. And that's why the game's getting solid reviews, and that's why it's sold so much and it's really successful. And I totally respect why people are loving the game, and it's totally cool that they are loving the game. But for me personally, like it just compared to Red Dead Redemption 1, I got really, really bored. Like I literally fell asleep one day riding from one point to another. I'm not even joking. Like I drifted off. And I woke up and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I was going to. And there he was, like collapsed on the floor because my horse had obviously ran into a tree or some stuff. And yeah, it's just like I've never felt that sort of boredom with a game, because like, yeah, they have a fast travel system eventually, like when you get so far into the game, but like it's a pain to use it really, and like using the coach system just isn't as fluid as the first game was, and the story just is sort of going all over the place, and it really doesn't feel like it ever ends. And when it does end, you're like, is it finished? Like I've still got like a million questions, and it's not really, I haven't really got anything like overly specific other than the fact that it's like almost too realistic at times. But my main,
but then at other times it's not,
right?
So like it picks and chooses the points that it's trying to be realistic, and it's like, well, when they were playtesting this, it's like they didn't think like, okay, this is kind of a pain in the ass. This part can be way more, just make this more video gamey.
Yeah,
we don't need, because they do that. For example, this is the best example, and I think what's his name, Jim Sterling brought this up. When you're on a horse and you want to change your outfits, you can only change your outfits if the horse is going at running at a slow pace. If you're full speed, you can't change your outfit. But when you do change your outfit, it's automatic,
right?
Which is not realistic at all. So it's like, why did you even decide that the horse has to be trotting or standing still in order to change your clothes, but the clothes changes automatically. So it's like they pick and choose the points where they want to be realistic, even when it's to the detriment of the entire experience.
No, definitely, I completely agree, and it's mainly for that reason, which I just found it so disappointing, is because, well, obviously the main point is that everyone was giving it 10 out of 10s. It's like it hit the same Metacritic score as Breath of the Wild, and it's the same issues with that game, I guess, where it's just got so much love and praise. And then when it actually came to the game, I was really excited about it. And it was just this massive, overwhelming sort of disappointment. It was like, this is a solid like 8 out of 10 game. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. And I just couldn't understand. Like, it's just so many small little things that I just couldn't understand. Like, why did they implement the fact that, oh, your horse is too far away, so you can't whistle it anymore, so you have to run across the fucking landscape to go and find it? Like, why did that make it in? It's like you were saying, like, keep video gamey stuff in there, because the golden rule of games development, like when we're making games, the one question you have to constantly ask yourself over and over and over again, day in, day out, has to be fun before it works. And it just, if the game isn't fun, like, it's broken, like, fix it. Like, it needs to be fun before anything else. Like, that's rule number one. You have to find the fun and then keep it fun. If the game is not fun anymore, then it's not working. But ultimately, like, yeah.
It's just like, a good example here is like when you're hunting legendary animals, like if you die or turn the game off and reload it, the legendary animal won't appear there for quite some time. Yeah. Now, the first time this happened was the initial mission where
the bear thing, right?
The bear. Yeah. And the bear killed me. Now, I reload my game, and I'm walking around that area for like 20 minutes. I'm like, where is this thing? Like, and then finally, after 20 minutes, I kid you not, on the top corner, left-hand corner of the screen, it says, "Oh, legendary animal won't return to this point for some time." It's like, why did you? I just wasted 20 minutes trying to find it. Why didn't that pop up?
But
earlier?
The real question is, like, why is that even in the game? Yeah, it's exactly, that's my point, though. It's a load of weird little stuff, like the fact that you can't run in a camp. Why can't I run in a camp?
This shit drove me nuts.
Right, and
then later in the game, where you move to like a house. Yeah. And Arthur's room is on the second floor, and you have to walk slowly through the house and then walk up the stairs to get to his room. It's like, why?
Yeah, but this is the weird thing about the game. It's got all of these tiny little problems, but they just amount to this frustration which I have with the game, where it's just, all right, I've got to go through this archaic, like, old style game design stuff to get to like some really cool, innovative thing that they've put into this game, and it's this weird, crazy balancing act between super old game design, which we don't use anymore, like I can't even explain like most of it, but then there's some really, really interesting ideas, and it just amounts to this frustration which I can't describe. Like, there's no one core mechanic that really does it. It's just a lot of little things, and that's the main reason why the game's disappointing to me. It's just because it just, to be blunt, like, the game wasn't as good as the first Red Dead Redemption. That's the only way I can really surmount it up. And like, I really enjoyed the first game, and the second game just didn't live up for me personally. I understand that other people aren't going to agree with that, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, I'll do one short story that kind of sums up the things that can happen in this game. Is I was going to Saint Denis because I saw a side quest marker, and so it was like at nighttime, and so by the time I got to the town, because it takes so fucking long to get everywhere, the marker had disappeared. Now, the game never tells you that some side quests are time sensitive, right, depending on what time of day. So I get to this house and I walk up. I'm like, well, where's the marker? What do I do here? And I go to my map. There's no marker anymore. I'm like, oh, and there's like this guy tending a garden on the grounds. So I go up to him. I thought maybe like he's going to, talking to him will introduce the side quest. Right. And then he looks at me, and it says "wanted trespassing," and then he starts running away. I was like, "What? No, I just wanted to." And so like, I just gonna hog tie him up so that he can't go to the police. Yeah. And as I'm hog tying him, a carriage passes by, and it's like, oh, wanted, like assault. Yeah. And so I was like, no. So like, I chase the carriage, and then I get on the carriage, and I like throw the person off, and it's like, wanted, like carriage theft. And I was like, God damn it. And so then the cops show up, and now L2, which you realize later is context sensitive, it is not the draw button, it is an interact button. Now, usually L2 is, if you hold it down, it'll give you options to interact with people, like antagonize them or talk to them or whatever.
Yeah.
But if there are cops around and you're wanted, L2 will automatically draw your gun. So
whose idea was that?
Because, oh God. So like, it's actually easy. It costs less money for you to go to jail than to die in a shootout. So I get off the carriage and the cops show up. I want to talk to them and just surrender. So I thought I had to hit L2 and then press the surrender button. You're not supposed to push anything. So the cops show up and I hit L2. I draw my gun. I get into a gunfight and I died.
Yeah.
I was like, all I wanted to do was go to this side quest, and it just turned into this fucking like. It's funny.
Yeah, no, it's this is the thing, like, it's like you're saying, like, you go on these crazy little adventures and they're super innovative, and like that's interesting, you know, I really like that stuff, but it's just the frustration of stuff, like you're trying to do certain things and the game is like too complicated for itself to like actually allow you to do a lot of stuff. That it's got all these interesting things, but you're just trying to do them a lot of the time, and there's so much clutter that you're just tripping over it sometimes, if that makes sense. Right. And like it's like you were saying about Saint Denis, like I just stopped going to Saint Denis completely, because every time I like was on my horse and I was going through them streets, 9 times out of 10 I would hit someone because they weren't looking where they were going or whatever. And the realism of that is like super interesting. You can ask all sorts of questions. Well, in real life, if you did hit someone, then you would get a wanted level. But I just stopped going to the city purely because I kept hitting people on my horse and I couldn't be bothered walking around. And the pathfinder on the horse is god awful to the point that you just don't even want to bother with it anymore. And I just started avoiding the city, and that pretty much sums up my experience with the game, I guess. You know, it's weird.
I have never been so afraid to walk through a city in a video game in my entire
exactly
life.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's weird. That is crazy that should be a thing. And compared to like other games where it's just not fun, you know, like it's interesting and it's a really great experience and the game is absolutely stunning, like to look at. It's one of the greatest game achievements I think that's ever been created, but just it's just bogged down by this weirdness. But yeah, that's
have you seen my horse videos?
I have you seen mine? I've done a couple myself. Like my best horse moment, like real quick, like the best one that I got, I was riding along in cinematic mode and he just like plowed into this horse, like another rider, like head on. It must like the horse must have lined it up, I swear to Christ. And I wasn't looking, I was like looking on my phone, because like if I wasn't looking on my phone, I was falling asleep, right? Like I was saying before.
Right.
And I just hear it happen. I look up and like Arthur stands up, turns around. My horse just stood there next to me, like, yeah, what up? And like, I look behind the horse, and there's a dead horse and a dead dude. I'm like, my horse just straight up murked a guy on his horse, like, and the horse. Like, it was both of them were dead on the floor. And I was like, are you serious? And like, so I recorded it, and I was like, I bet this doesn't happen often, but it apparently does. Like, but I've never seen anyone else's horse like kill 2 innocent people. I guess. It was wild, but yeah.
And I remember one time I was heading north to do a mission, and then this lady was on the side of the road. Her horse had died. She's like, "Can you take me to so and so bar or farm?" I'm like, "Okay, it's in the opposite direction, but fine." So she gets on my horse, and I go into cinematic mode and go in the other room. I end up running.
See where this is going.
I end up running straight into a carriage, and I hear it. I'm like, "Oh no!" I come back in the room. And then I get out of cinematic mode. She had fallen off the horse, and then it totally just canceled the side mission, and she starts running away. And then I got docked honor for that. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I mean, this is the thing, right? It's this constant balance between frustration and super interesting ideas. Like, I've never had that in a game where like you see random people in a game just like, "Hey, can you help me out?" and stuff. Like, and some of them are repeated. Don't get me wrong, but like they even mix them up. Like sometimes that one, like, "Hey, can you take me to blah blah blah?" You get her on the horse. Like 2 minutes down the road, she draws a gun on you, sort of thing. Like that stuff is like cool. Like I really love that stuff. But then masting all that is like your horse has got terrible pathfinding, so it just runs into shit and then it ruins everything. It's like, it's weird. I really can't describe like my disappointment like in like a coherent way. That's why I've sort of rambled on about it, I guess. But yeah, it just isn't as good as the first game, in my opinion. That's pretty much the crux of it.
I mean, there's been like 30 or 40-minute sections where like I actually got literally nothing done in the game because I just kept getting like taking steps back because shit wasn't working, or like I got killed and the legendary animal disappeared, or like just it is really, really disappointing in a lot of regards. Okay, moving on to biggest surprise. I guess we can keep this one shorter. Biggest surprise of 2017 was me getting into the Wolfenstein series.
Oh
yeah. Never played any of the Wolfenstein games, and I love them now. Can't wait for the third one. Hopefully, I know Wolfenstein 2 didn't sell that well, but I'm pretty sure that
they'll make it.
Yeah, but the young blood is coming out this year. I'm super excited for that.
Oh, that's the one with the twins, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay, so 2018, my biggest surprise is I like Bloodborne. A lot.
Oh, you're one of those guys now, are
you? I'm one of those guys. Yeah. The reason that I actually got into it is I have a friend who's obsessed with FromSoft games. He's platinumed every Dark Souls game
everyone's
and
got a friend
Bloodborne.
Like that. Everyone's got a friend like that.
Yep.
One. Like you're not the only one.
And who will also, by the way, not stop fucking talking about those games.
Yeah.
We all have that friend.
Accurate.
So he lived in the States for a while. He moved to Japan, and then when he came up to visit me, he's like, "Dude, you got to get into Bloodborne." And it was one of the PS Plus games for the month.
Mm-hmm.
So what he did is, because he's played the game so much, he's like, "Okay, here you go. Just use this weapon. Put all of your blood echo points into these stats, and I'm going to walk you through how to play this game up into the first boss, and then I'll leave you be."
Good on him. Yeah,
so
I was going to say that's like the perfect sort of tutorial that you could, because I've finished the game as well. I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, that's well played.
So like, if I wouldn't have had that friend, I don't know if I would have played it. But after he walked me through like the beginning of the game, and I stumbled a lot, tons of times.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went home. And then I was like so afraid to play the game by myself because he had just like walked me through it.
Right.
And then I started playing the game for myself, and I just fell in love with it. I think it's awesome. And I'm so happy that I did.
It's one of them games. Like the more I think about it, like I had a lot of complaints at the time. Like there's like one core mechanic which sort of like really annoys me, where if you get hit when you're in mid-motion sort of thing, then you flinch, but if you do the same to enemies, then they don't flinch. Like that mechanic like really annoys me, like as a designer, I guess. But like outside of that, like when I reflect on the game, like it gets better over time, sort of thing. Like the more you think about it, like the better it gets.
Yeah, I definitely learned to appreciate it over the course of the game, and I'm actually in the middle of playing it with my friend online together.
Nice.
And we're gonna get like the best.
Wait. You're playing a multiplayer game.
Only because it's a co-op. That's the only reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's online.
That's against the rules somewhere. If there's a contract of Evan like that, dude, someone would challenge that. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, I've only played it a little bit.
It's all good.
But yeah, I'm so happy that I played this game because I am like my most anticipated game of 2019 is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be a good year, man. Either way for games, but
it's and just like the Japanese like the aesthetic of that game, like it just. Oh man!
Do you remember?
So good. And I like how the combat's super fluid. It's more Bloodborne than Dark Souls.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago. It was maybe 1 or 2 years ago. We had one of the questions on the podcast was, what would be like your ideal game? And I was like, there was like a feudal Japan games made by like From Software or something. So like Sekiro is like perfect. Like, that's exactly what like I requested like 2 years ago. So they might have been listening. Like, oh, that's a good idea. Well, might make that.
That's weird because remember I wanted that Fist of the North Star game.
Yeah, no, and you got it. You got it this year. Yeah. Well played.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's a good game. All right, yeah. So Bloodborne's awesome. Can't wait for Sekiro. All right, and what's your biggest surprise of 2018?
Yeah, my biggest surprise of 18. Well, in 17, I had a bit of. I said I had a tiny bit of faith restored in Nintendo based on like Switch's sort of success and how they were doing, and they were actually listening to feedback and actually making more games. And I was sort of wrong. Like, yeah, I was totally right. I was vindicated in my way, like of being sort of skeptical about Nintendo because they've not had an amazing year. Like they've sort of dumped all of their chips onto Smash Brothers this year, I kind of feel like. And I'm not into that game whatsoever. So like I've sort of had nothing to play, even though I've just bought a Switch. Like
I played 2 Switch games 3.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2, Octopath Traveler, and a bit of Runner 3. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just open more studios, man. You've got the money to do it. Just open more studios. We just want more games. That's it. But yeah, anyway, that was my 17. But 2018, this year, my biggest surprise was how much I got into micro consoles or mini consoles, like the classic consoles. I bought. Yeah. It's super weird, but I picked up an SNES Classic, and I was hooked on it. I was like, all right, this is the greatest thing ever made, and I admittedly I modded it so I could put a Chrono Trigger on there as well. I own that game like 9 times, so like get off me if you're gonna like criticize me. But like I own it a lot, pretty much, and so I put that on there, and and it's awesome. So then I bought an NES for my birthday, and yeah, same thing. And then I got the PS1 Classic, same thing, and I love them. And now like I've got like fever dreams about having like pretty much all of the retro consoles in like micro format with like all my favorite games on them. So hopefully,
yeah, it is a definite bug.
It's rough. Man. I've got all 3 of them now, and that was like over like a few month period. It was pretty bad.
Yep, it's I think I have all of them. I have the Super Famicom Mini, the Famicom Mini, the PlayStation Classic, and a SNES. Which, when my friend moved to Japan, I was like, "Dude, pick me up one of those SNESs because it's got like Earthbound and a couple of the other games that are not on the."
Yeah, Japanese. Did you get the European one or the American one?
I believe it's the American one.
The one with the purple buttons, right?
Yeah. Because I already have the better looking one in the Japanese European.
I was going to say, right? Yeah, I got the European one. Oh yeah, I guess they were the same, weren't they, in Japan and Europe?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's like primary colors are too childish. I know.
Purple.
Let's use fuchsia or whatever.
Yeah, it was weird, but yeah, no, yeah. I'm totally into like the mini console thing, and I know there's a Genesis or a Mega Drive coming out this year, so I'm super hyped on that, and hopefully Nintendo will actually pull their finger out their ass and release the N64 Mini, which is highly rumored. So yeah, that'd be great if we could get that as well.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get like a Game Boy one sooner than an N64 one.
Yeah, that'd be weird though, wouldn't it? Like I don't even know.
Like taking a step back.
Right.
I don't know.
Because you couldn't make it any smaller.
I want a Virtual Boy Mini that's like so small like you can't even
put your eyes in it.
Actually use it. It's just like one eye, right. And then like your vision gets like fucked after using it. But a month.
That's the problem which I would have with like a Game Boy Mini though, because like the graphics would be so bad because like they're not just charming like sort of retro graphics anymore. Like it's just green and black, right? There's no white or anything, and it's just I don't even know how well that would do. And if it was any smaller, like it'll be uncomfortable to play. I don't know. It'll be weird. But for the consoles,
they did make the Game Boy Micro, so
yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I hope they keep making the consoles.
Yeah, I hope they do too. We'll see what happens. Yep. All right, moving on to most. What are we at? Yeah, most innovative. Yep. Innovative. New category for 2018. Mm-hmm. And I picked this one specifically because I played a puzzle game called The Gardens Between. Are you familiar with this game?
I've never heard of this game in my life. I'm going to have to Google it.
It is great. It's also a very easy platinum trophy. So
of course.
There's that. You play as these 2 childhood friends that are reliving their memories, like hanging out together, a boy and a girl. So like each level is like basically this giant like rock formation like in water, and what you're constantly doing is walking forward and like spiraling up to like a gate, and then you have this like little lantern.
Oh, I see.
If you have the light in it, you can put it in the gate and then you move on to the next level. So it's like this rock formation, but it's like piled, like random bits and pieces of their memories are like piled around this rock thing that they're walking up. So for example, there's a memory of them playing video games like late at night on the couch. So like it'll be this rocky surface you're spiraling up, and there'll be like a couch sticking out of it.
Interesting.
And like a video game console.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do is rewind time. And so what happens is you move the stick forward to make how do I want to say this? To start. Man, I'm gonna edit this.
I'm just looking at the screen.
Hello, everyone. This is Evan from the near future. What Dum Dum was trying to say is that The game it's a puzzle game where the main mechanic of the game is time manipulation. It's a puzzle game with time manipulation. You don't actually directly control the characters. You control the flow of time by pushing either right or left on the stick to move time forwards or backwards. The girl can only interact with and hold a lamp that you will need to have lit at the end of the level in order to clear it. And the boy can interact with specific items like pushing buttons and sounding bells once you pass them in the level that change the makeup of the level that'll allow both of you to progress. So basically, you kind of start at the bottom of this giant mound of memories and you manipulate time, having both characters either interact with things, pick up the lamp and keep it lit, and you kind of slowly circle up to the precipice, and if you have the lamp lit, you can kind of open this portal and access the next level. I'm actually not going to edit out Dum stumbling through what the hell he was trying to say here. I'll let him suffer a little bit more, but apologies all the same. Continue on. It's really difficult to explain how the puzzles work. The only thing I can say is there's one puzzle where you're walking forward and you hit a dead end.
Right.
But what you can do is like press the button and you see a cord hanging off of a VCR. It's like part of the memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can like fast forward time and the cord will it's just hanging. It'll flip up and plug into a power outlet.
Right.
Then now that's plugged in, you rewind time and there's a part where you pass by a VCR. And the guy will push a button now that it's plugged in. The VHS tape will pop out of the VCR now that it's plugged in and fall, and then that becomes a ramp for the players to walk up.
Interesting. Okay.
So then you fast forward time again, and instead of walking towards the dead end, they'll automatically walk up the VHS tape that has made the ladder for them.
Yeah.
So it's like these really, really cool puzzles, and it's a cool puzzle game in that they keep introducing new things to keep the puzzles fresh. It's not just the same gimmick every time, even though technically the gimmick is the rewinding and fast forwarding time stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool.
That does sound cool.
It's a really, really beautiful looking game, and and it tells a story without any dialogue about this friendship of these two characters as they're reliving their memories together. So
nice.
Yeah, I just thought the whole the time fast forwarding rewinding gimmick was like really, really innovative. So yep,
awesome. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that one out. It's on it's on PS4, right? And PC, maybe?
It came out last probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on Steam.
I recommend it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no,
it's
definitely.
Like maybe a 5-6 hour game.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it and the way you've explained it, like I'm really interested. It's definitely down my alley. So yeah, I'll check that out.
Really, really liked it. Probably one of my favorites of the year, I think.
Nice.
All right, and how about you? What's your most innovative game of 2018?
Yeah, my most innovative game was a game called Minute. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's on.
I recently found out about this.
Yeah, it's on the Switch. It was on. I bought it on the Switch, but it's originally on Steam as well. It might be on other consoles. I'm not sure though. You'll have to look into it. It's called Minute with an IT at the end instead of like the way it's normally Minute is spelt. But it's basically it's based on the idea that you basically play the game in minute sections. So you play as this little creature. Like the aesthetic of the game is just black and white, so it's 2 values only, and it's sort of like. It's kind of like The Legend of Zelda, like in like Link to the Past sort of style. And you basically start in this house, and you've got a minute, and you can only live for a minute, and then after a minute you die, or you can hit a button and it'll just kill you straight away. Which sounds really dark, and it kind of is because you've got like this curse or this sword, and which is basically making you relive the same minute over and over again. And the premise is you're going from a house, and you've got to like progress through the game in 1 minute section. So like you've just got to fucking run basically from one side to the other, and you're trying to like find items and play the game, and like you're talking to people. It's like, oh shit, I've only got 30 seconds left. I need to like hurry up, sort of thing. And you find like keys and access ways and stuff, and you find little hub worlds. But the game itself, like the innovation of that is really interesting. But the thing that makes it most like innovative, I guess, is the whole concept of you like learn how to not become frustrated by death. if that makes sense. Like normally in a game,
Right.
it's like a punishment, but in this game, it's sort of like you get used to it and you learn how to like deal with it. And like once you get a key or something, or you unlock a certain door and you've still got like 40 seconds left. So all right, instead of waiting for 40 seconds, like you just commit suicide pretty much, and then you go back and then you carry on running. And it's
so are you unlocking like, because basically the game can technically be beaten in a minute, but are you unlocking like shortcuts and stuff?
Yeah, like you find other houses.
Yeah,
there's like other houses that you find where you can like you basically learn how to spawn from them houses instead. But there's just super weird little interesting like mechanics behind it. Like you'll come across like haunted houses and stuff which has got like endless loops in them. So if you've only got a minute to live sort of thing and you've got to like find your way through this puzzle but you're stuck in this like weird loopy house because it's haunted or something. And, like there's just weird super like really interesting little moments like that. It's a really really cheap game and it's super like fun and I recommend everyone play it. And it's really interesting. I'm not gonna like it's hard to talk about without spoiling it. It's a really short game as well. You can probably finish it in a few hours, but really really fun.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, like check it out. It seems like really primitive as well with the art style, but it's fun. Like I recommend it.
All right, awesome. All right, 2 more categories left.
Well, hey,
the best and the worst. So let's kick off the worst before we get to our actual best games of 2018.
Okay.
These are the worst games that we've played in 2018. Now, of course, 2017 for me was Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 7.
Yeah, it was.
AKA the game that literally took 7 years of my life expectancy. More dangerous than cigarettes. That game needs a fucking
it does.
Surgeon General's warning on it. But I'll be very quick with this one.
Mm-hmm.
My 2018 worst game that I played is Mass Effect Andromeda.
Ooh.
With a runner-up being Nier Automata.
Right.
I'm actually not really going to get into why, because I dedicated a 2 full episodes of Podcast Reload from Wink Wink Wink. Go check the YouTube playlist.
Plug.
I talked about why I think, Trash Effect.
Right. That bad, huh?
Mass Defect. I talked about it with Keith, aka McWomble, and Matt, aka Burkoff, for about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
why I think the game is trash. Yeah. And then Nier Automata, I did the same thing earlier last year in one of the 2018 Podcast Reload episodes. So if you're interested in why I think the game's trash, you can listen to those. But yeah, I think that game sucks.
Fair play.
So how about you? What's the worst game that you played in 2018, Vin?
Yeah, I wrote in our little schedule here, I wrote mystery game. And the reason for that is because I don't have one this year.
Oh,
at all.
That's
good.
This
is the thing, like I mentioned earlier to you, I consciously like set out at the start of 2018 saying I only want to because I always tell people to vote with their wallets, and I sort of want to dedicate like this little section here to this. It's like I always tell people, you need to read reviews. They're free. And then you need to judge based on the reviews, and then you buy a game. Because I'm like, one thing which I've really gotten like sick to death of over the last few years is just people bitching about games like after they bought them, sort of thing, even though they just refuse to read a review. Like I've seen waves and waves of people buying Fallout 76, and the same thing's happening this year. And the same thing happened with No Man's Sky, just like millions of people buying these games and not reading reviews and then bitching about them afterwards. I mean, it's, their opinion and stuff, but if they want publishers to really listen, like you need to not buy their games, because that's the only thing that will really like voice your opinion. And that's what I did in 2018. And miraculously enough, I didn't play a bad game. I was disappointed in some games, but I didn't play a bad one. I didn't have a worse game sort of thing. But, I mean, I was pretty busy as well, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, just vote with your wallet, people. Jesus Christ, like it really annoys me. I mean, of course, like I know you've played like bad games as well, like Mass Effect Andromeda and stuff, but like we're hardcore gamers, right? We play a lot of games. But to the average core gamer, like we really need to start promoting people to just be a bit smarter, I guess, like with reviews and stuff. Like we have all these awesome journalists out there, like doing really good work for free for us, pretty much. And we don't take advantage of that a lot of the time. So we really need to like value their opinion. But yeah, that's it.
Well, funnily enough, Nier Automata, I was really, really looking forward to that game.
Right. And that got reviewed really well, to be fair.
It did, yeah. But I will say, I think I slightly am in that party, Vin, of reading the reviews of Andromeda and buying it anyways, which I shouldn't have.
I mean, but did you buy it? Did you buy it full price?
I think I learned a lesson. Well, one reason was that I wasn't convinced that it was as bad as people said, and then they said that they had patched some of the more notable bugs or whatever, all the memes that popped up when the game came out.
Yeah.
And I like Mass Effect so much that I was like, you know what, it can't be that bad.
Right.
And I thought that it was.
Well,
eventually.
To be fair, you didn't buy the game for full price, did you? Like, you didn't buy it for...
No, I bought it for $7.
That's fine. Like, in my opinion, that's more than fine. Like, that's when you buy a bad game, if you want to try it out, and you've got them sort of like thoughts about it where you're like, I don't know if it's going to be as bad as the reviews really say. Like, wait for a sale. Like, don't go out there and throw $60 at a game and then
I see what you're saying
afterwards.
Yeah.
Like that's where I have the problem. Like with,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like just seeing it with Fallout 76 this year, it's just like everyone's like, oh, these guys don't know how to make games anymore. It's like, just wait for a review. Like one day, that's all it would have taken, and the reviews trashed it as well. So I just I don't understand why people do it. Like, don't buy a game for full price until you've read a review, ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's tirade over.
That's my goal, is not to play a shitty game.
Yeah, a shitty $60 game.
Right, exactly.
Specifically, but yeah.
Okay, well, good for you. You walked away unscathed in 2018.
Yeah, I did.
And here we are. Game of the Year 2018.
Woohoo!
Yay. We made it.
Yeah, like insert fireworks and poppers and all that sort of stuff.
Oh god, you give me stuff to do. All right, yeah, I'll find something I can use. All right. So these are our games of the year. Now I made a top 10, but since Vin was so busy, he didn't. I don't think you played enough games to make a full.
I mean,
top 10
I've got enough to do a top 10, but I don't think like 10 really deserve it. I guess if that makes sense. Okay, I've got a top 5, so let's do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut my list to 5 games, but I want to just briefly mention numbers 10 through 6. Number 10 is The Gardens Between, that time travel gimmick puzzle game.
Right.
Awesome. I highly recommend it.
I will check that one out. The more you talk about
it,
the more you talk about it, like the more I just want to try that one. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think. I'm interested. Number 9, Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. How is this not higher on my list?
You were hyped on this, like big time.
Super hyped. One thing that was a bit disappointing is you could tell that like they just kind of rushed this game out.
Yeah,
it's on the Yakuza 0 engine and not the Dragon engine that was developed solely for the PS4.
Interesting. I guess they started development early and it just took them a while.
Maybe, yeah, that's quite possible. It's really, really good. Like, it's a Yakuza game with a splash of Fist of the North Star paint.
Again, it's good. This is the same thing that happened. You know, when I was saying like I want a From Software game set in like feudal Japan. This was like your thing, wasn't it? Like the same thing happened where you said you wanted a Fist of the North Star game like made by the Yakuza guys or something, and it was just like, yeah, that's never gonna happen. And then it got announced. It was like, what the fuck? So people
like,
are
it's
listening.
Good. Yeah, something about this podcast. I don't know what it is.
From Software are listening. All Japanese developers are listening to our crazy podcast.
Oh yeah, you can bet your top dollar.
Yep.
It's good.
Eco remake if you're listening. Sorry.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I hope so. I'm wondering what Blue Point's working on. Very interested. So it's good, but yeah, just a couple of rough edges. Some of the side quests are not as great as when compared to other Yakuza games, and then going out into the wasteland is kind of shitty. Like your buggy, there's nothing really to do there, and your buggy controls terribly.
It is a wasteland, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's just like it should look better than it does. Right. It looks good, but it doesn't look that good. Character models are great, but some of the textures and like it you know what it looks like, Vin? You know how you ever play Dark Chronicle or Dark Cloud 2?
Yep.
You know how like when you get to a town and like you have like the town assets and you're supposed to like plop them down on the map to make like the perfect town?
Right.
The game kind of looks like they took like a desert texture and stretched it over, and then they just took like block assets and just placed it around the the map.
Yeah, it goes
instead of making it
back,
feel like a lived-in world.
It goes back to what I was saying before when I complain about Japanese games. Like they spend so much time on like character art, and then it gets to the environment and like, we'll just cash this in. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I felt about that. Yeah, so that's number 9.
Right.
Number 8 is Ryuga Gotoku Isshin, which is the Yakuza game that's the name of the Yakuza games in Japan. Ryuga Gotoku means like a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the one that takes place during the Meiji Restoration. You play as Sakamoto Ryoma, which is one of the most famous historical figures in Japan.
That's fascinating.
It takes place in Kyoto.
Oh wow,
which is awesome because
then.
Yeah, they've in Yakuza they've been to Hiroshima and Onomichi, Nagoya, Tokyo, Sapporo, and they've never had a modern day Kyoto in a Yakuza game.
That's interesting.
Now,
like, because you would think,
Kyoto.
Yeah, you would think because it's like got a lot of tradition there as well. Like they would have gone to that, but yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's cool because like I'm walking around like 4th Street, Shijo. I'm like, oh, like I walk on this street all the time. This is awesome, and it's at like the turn of the century when Japan was finally opened its borders to the West after being shut off for 250 years, and so like all of it, they were closed off for so long, and then like change started happening so quickly.
Is there big black ships in the game? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there is, and there's a Commodore. There's a guy who looks like Commodore Perry.
That's awesome.
But he's like an impersonator. But it was a very tumultuous time in Japan where Japan was basically ending the rule of the Tokugawa shogunate was coming to a close, and they were kind of going to restore power to the emperor and move into the new century. But it's a really, really fun game.
That's the exact setting which I did all my the Assassin's Creed Japan stuff which I drew. Like that's all that's all set during the Meiji Restoration as well. The exact same thing. So yeah, I love that stuff. It's awesome. I need to check out this game. I mean,
too bad it doesn't have.
Yeah, it's
only
English.
In Japan.
Right, I know.
They never translated it.
I hope there's a remaster or something one day because fuck playing that game in Japanese. I bet there's some super like old archaic words which I'm just gonna like I don't know what that means. So
yeah, I had my iPad open with a Japanese dictionary readily available.
Yeah, fair play.
But yep.
Yeah, go on.
Number 7 is Yakuza Kiwami 2. Why isn't that higher on the list? It's an awesome game. I really, really liked it. I got the platinum trophy in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of the weaker stories. And there's other games that I really, really enjoyed more than that. Number 6 is Spider-Man.
Ooh.
I think this game is awesome. I also got the platinum trophy in this. Jesus, I can't help myself. I gotta
get a job. Seriously, get a job.
It's great. It's a great game. Swinging around the city as Spider-Man has never felt more Spider-Man-y.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those games where like you look at it and you see the world and you're like, man, this is going to be amazing. But when you play it, you're like, oh, this is totally video gamey. It's like you're just doing lots of the same open world stuff that you do in every other game.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes it, you see the seams of the game a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess that's one of my complaints about it. But that's the number 10 through 6. So let's just move on to our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go 1 for 1 on this. So Vin, what is your 5th best game of 2018?
5th best game for me is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, it made your list.
It made my list, and it did. Yeah. And for all the positive things I was saying before, like it looks absolutely stunning. It's got a load of great little ideas in there. You know, the whole like just the random events that happen as you're riding along, like when people just jump out behind rocks and just start shooting at you, like, oh, get him, boys. It's like all that stuff is cool. Like I really, really love that stuff. But you know, it's not higher up the list for the complaints which I had before, and it's unfortunate because like I was really, really excited for this game, but you know, it still makes the list just purely because of all the things that it did do right. Mostly because like I'm an art guy as well, so like when a game looks really good, like just like the atmospheric like clouds and stuff which you have in this game is just mind blowing. Like I still don't know how they did it like on a technical level. I know they had like 3,000 people working on this game over like a 6-year period, and you can totally see it. Like the production value is up there. So yeah, it's a really, really great game. So it's just not for me, I guess, like to be perfect. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
All right. My number 5 is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Ooh, Bloodstained.
You know, it's the little 8-bit
the Castlevania game, right?
Basically it's Castlevania. It's Castlevania. Yeah. It was I think on the Kickstarter, it was one of the Kickstarter goals to release like a really small like 8-bit kind of version of Bloodstained, which is supposed to come out this year. And you play as one character, and it's very similar to Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, where you get a party of people, and you have 4 people, and you can switch between them anytime you want to, just depending on what enemies you're fighting to, get through this game is fucking awesome. There's no platinum trophy, bullshit, but I did 100%
it. Right, of course. No, the thing that makes me happy about this game, it's not the fact I haven't played it, and I don't even know if I will play it until cause the actual main game comes out.
Right.
I'm more interested in that one. But what makes me happy is the fact that if this game is good, then you know that the main game is going to be decent as well. And I was really worried that this was going to be like another Mega Man situation where it was just going to be fucking awful sort of thing. Well, not Mega Man, but the Mighty Number 9 or whatever it was. It just got absolutely bombed. And I was really worried that the same thing was going to happen. But this sort of alleviates my worries, I guess. So yeah, that's really, really cool to hear that it's on your list.
Yeah, it's awesome. And to get 100%, you have to play through the game like shit. I probably played through the game like 12 times. It's very short. There's like five levels. Probably take you about an hour and a half to get through it one time, but it's awesome. Like the enemy design, the boss battles are really, really cool.
That's cool.
The powers that each person have are neat, so that like you switch between them depending on the situation. Like, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Sweet.
All right. Vin, number 4.
Number 4 for me is a game that I mentioned before earlier. Is actually Bad North. Like, this is getting on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's a super small game. It tanked in the reviews, but I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I sank a load of hours into this, and I just highly recommend it. It's, like, for all the reasons which I mentioned before, it's just something like you can sort of get lost in for half an hour. Like, you can do a couple of waves and enjoy yourself. If you're really into, like, permadeath and all that sort of stuff, like, you'll really enjoy this. But, like, I can understand why, like, the opposite reason might frustrate people. Like, they might really hate that stuff and be like, oh, this game sucks because, like, it's too simple, or it overcomplicates, like, a simple format. But seriously, try it out. It's a really cheap game. It's a really cool game. So, yeah, and it's totally on my list at number 4. How about you, man? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hey, there it is.
This was almost didn't make my list for how disappointed I was in like the UI and UX stuff.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating for all the reasons that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But the last third of that game, story wise, really turned me around. Like I think I had said on Sifted, but I think Arthur Morgan is only second to Kiryu Kazuma as like the best video game character ever. Like I loved Arthur Morgan so much. He's so awesome. And I played the game the only way you're supposed to play it is you shave your face and never shave your mustache. I had the biggest fucking badass like Virgil from Tombstone mustache.
That's great.
Oh, it was great. But the last third of that game, when shit starts getting real for the gang there, I loved how they wrapped that story up. It was super satisfying. So that is what turned me around on the game. And man, is there an hour counter in that game? I couldn't find it.
I don't think so. But wait, it might be in like the options or something. I think like the player stats or something.
Those option menus suck, by the way.
Yeah, the UI design on that game is awful. To be fair, like it's just all around. Like whoever designed like the button. Like I understand that they've got more interactions and stuff, but at the same time, it's like you could have simplified this somehow. Like you had 6 years to work on this, boys. Like come on, like someone's got to have an idea.
I still don't know how to duel properly. I don't know how it works. I don't get it. I think I died. I died 25 times once during a duel before I shot the gun out of the guy's hand.
It was kind of like that in the first game as well, though. Like I don't think I ever learned how to duel properly. Yeah. It's just
let's just say, this game would be higher up on my list. But like Red Dead 1, I 100%ed that game. I didn't get the platinum trophy because there's multiplayer trophies you have to get.
Right.
But I did everything you could in that game, and I am nowhere near that in this one, and I beat the game, and I'm probably not going to go back to it. So that should tell you something about it. All right, Here it is, the top 3.
Yeah.
Then what is your third?
My number 3 is the Shadow of the Colossus remaster.
Ooh.
I know this is like contentious because it's a remake or remaster. No, it is a remake. Sorry, my bad. Not a remaster. It's a remake.
Yep.
I know like a lot of people are going to be like, that doesn't count. It does count because Bluepoint need a shout out because what they did with this game was fucking flawless, and they deserve every bit of respect from the industry. Because seriously, like I've never I've played a lot of remakes and a lot of remasters in my time, but Bluepoint have like gotten better and better over the years, and this is their sort of coup de grace. Like this is their best thing that they've done, and it shows. And everything that they're going to be doing in the future, I'm going to keep an eye on, regardless what the game is, because they did this game justice. And I know it's your favorite game of all time as well, like the original was.
Yep.
So I think you really enjoyed the remake as well. But for me, this is, I mean, it's just an absolutely perfect remake. Basically, like they did everything that they could have done, and they respected it enough. Like they didn't mess with too much of it either. Like they changed the buttons for like the people that had a problem with it and stuff, and just the game is just absolutely gorgeous as well. Like it's just a flawless game. So if you haven't played the Shadow of the Colossus remake, you're doing something wrong in your life. Sort yourself out and get a job, and and with that money that you've earned with that job, buy this game.
There you go. I concur.
How about you, man? What's your number
3? This is a new addition to my list. Celeste.
I
played it
Game of the Year
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was on sale. It was like mid-December. Holy shit, man. Like this, like if you talk about like puzzle platformers, I would say like top 3 are like in recent memory are Shovel Knight, Super Meat Boy, and Celeste. Celeste is that good.
That good. Okay.
It's so good, and it's amazing soundtrack as well. But like, it's like, because I think we've all seen Celeste. You get like the double jump, and it's like each screen is pretty much like this crazy gauntlet of like your puzzle platforming prowess, and like and it's got the similar thing to Super Meat Boy is when you die, you immediately start over again. There's no loading or anything, so you just like. I think at the end they give you a death counter. I died 1,337 times.
Jesus. But like if you still enjoyed it, that's all that matters, right?
No, it's like, and it's also one of those things similar to Super Meat Boy is like you think like, oh, okay, there's a double jump and then that's it. It's like, no, every new section of the game adds one more thing.
Awesome.
And it's not even what you can do, it's what the level does.
Right.
And I'll just leave it at that. And it just keeps making the game fresh.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, when you start getting closer and closer to the top of this mountain that you're climbing, like it starts getting hard, but like it's basically like, okay, like you've made it this far. Let's see. Now everything this game has to offer. Let's see what you're made of type of stuff. And it's just so satisfying. Awesome. Like it's an awesome game.
No, I
really deserved.
I really love what they're doing with that sort of stuff. When it comes to like game design and stuff like that, whether it's like you've always said, like show don't tell sort of thing. I love that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, this was completely off my radar until I got nominated for Game of the Year, and I was like, really? Okay, I've never even really heard of this game. Like I saw it get reviewed and stuff, and people liked it. But then once it got nominated, I started looking back, and that's a good thing about the Game Awards, I guess. I mean, I started looking back at all the Celeste stuff, and I was like, wow, this looks solid. And I really do want to pick this one up. This is on near the top of my list. So, yeah, I look forward to playing it. So, good pick.
It's that good. It really is.
Awesome.
It was on my radar, and I was like, I'll wait for a sale. And then when I played it, I was like, why didn't I play this game sooner? It is awesome. But, yep. Number 3. And number 2, what's your second best game of 2018?
My second best game was Spider-Man, actually. Yeah, I know it was like further up your list sort of thing, and well, further down, I guess. My bad. It's the other way around. But I'm a huge sort of like Spider-Man gameplay fan. Like when it comes to like the comic books and shit and like all the movies, like I don't really care. Like whatever, like it's just they've got all this crazy lore with it. But for the games, like just swing it around and just doing that like mindlessly, like it's super fun. And this game sort of nailed that sort of experience. Like, because I've been playing Spider-Man games like all my life, pretty much since like the PS1 with like Spider-Man 2 was like really great. And then Web of Shadows on the 360 was awesome. And now this one sort of like, it's learned from all of them things and create this really great game. I mean, it same problems as which you had. Like it's sort of it gets long in the tooth at a certain point where it's like like the game could have ended like 5 hours earlier than it did. But it's just it was very polished. It was. I don't think I ran into a single bug in the game, which is sort of crazy for an open world game as well. And just it was really good to just see a great Spider-Man game back. Because we haven't had one in a while. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. It does exactly what it says on the tin, and I just thought it was a great game. I had a really good time playing it. So yeah, that's why it makes my number 2 spot. And it's sort of tied with the Shadow of the Colossus remake because yeah, it's hard to pick because they're so different, and it's I sort of pushed the Shadow of the Colossus remake down because it was a remake and not like an original game, I guess. It's the only reason. But outside of that, like I could have picked either of these games. So yeah, that's my number 2 spot.
Yeah, I think it's deserving. It was a really, really good game. It's like it's one of the best like traversal feelings of like just swinging around that town.
Yeah.
Or Manhattan is just it feels so good.
It just feels great. I mean, and you get like at first it's sort of weird to get used to, but as soon as you get used to it, like you start doing stuff which you just didn't think was really possible. Like when you watch that E3 demo when it first got announced or shown off properly, like the chase scene of the helicopter or whatever. When you first saw it, it's like, yeah, it's not going to be like that in the game. No, it's actually like that, and it's like you play that scene, and it was my experience was pretty much like shot for shot in that, like with a couple of things that were a little bit different. Like I tripped up on one bit where it didn't in the trailer. And it was like that, like in itself, just how cinematic, like some of the moments were great. So yeah, I tip my hat to the people that worked on that game. Well played.
And I'll say just one more thing about Spider-Man. A lot of people, like I heard at least on podcasts, didn't like is the what are they? The bad guy bases? The hell are they?
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the army people.
Yeah, or whatever. Just
super
the bases.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, the hideouts, the bad guy hideouts.
Yeah.
I loved the stealth stuff and those, like trying to get through at least wave 1 without being spotted.
Yeah,
like, I loved doing that stuff. It was super intuitive. I love the system of like, shooting web so one guy notices and he travels away from the group so you can take each person down without being spotted and all that stuff. Like I thought it was just like really, really fun to systematically.
It kind of reminded me of Batman almost. Arkham Asylum. It was kind of like that in a weird way, but yeah, it was it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
How about you, man? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Shadow of the Colossus remake.
Hey, I knew it would be on there somewhere. Like it's got to be,
Yeah, you're just like waiting for it. He's like, oh, he didn't say it yet. He didn't know. There's no way he's keeping this off the list. Nope. I mean, it's my favorite game of all time, and this is the ultimate version of that game.
Yeah, man, you got lucky. I mean,
Oh yeah.
For someone like for someone's like favorite game of all time to get remade in this way, yeah, it's
and
Christmas.
Get knocked out of the park.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
It really is. Of course, I got the platinum trophy. I had to. Yeah. Well, I will say the time trials in this version are a lot easier than even the PS3 HD remastered ones, which I think are based on the European version of the games, which are technically harder than the North American version and the Japanese version.
I think they might change it because of like the frame rate differences, I guess. I'm not sure.
Right. And then especially like the third Colossi, the Gaius, during the hard time trial, like it's almost impossible to hold onto his stomach without slipping.
Yeah.
Which makes that time trial like super difficult, and they fixed it in this game. So the platinum trophy is easier to get. I actually have not got the platinum trophy in the PS3 HD version, but no, this game is amazing. It looks beautiful. I had just returning to that world and how amazing it looks and how amazing each colossi looks, how they upgraded them. it was a dream come true for me, and I had an amazing time playing that game.
I bet you did.
I believe it was February. It was great.
Yeah, it was funny because like I was riding along one of the beaches, and I didn't even know this was in the game. I was completely in the dark about this. But I was riding along one of the beaches, and I saw like a watermelon, and like if you're yeah, right, and if you're like a fan of Eco and like like the lore behind all that game, I saw that watermelon, I lost my shit, and then like one of the trophies popped. And then I realized it was like, okay, right, now I understand. But just the thing that I love about that game more than anything, like the remake, is just how much respect they give to the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you don't see that a lot. Like when it comes to remakes, like they'll rehash things or redesign things and stuff. But it's like the amount of like stuff that they step back on and just let it be what made it great in the original. It was I love like everything they've done with that game, and I really hope, oh God, I really hope that Eco gets remade. Like you have no idea. Like whenever like an event comes along, I'm like, come on, this is the year, come on. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but I can only pray.
Yeah, and there's so many like assets and like textures that are like pretty much used that they could use for the remake. And they've figured out how to do shadow, so they could like expedite the process possibly with an Eco remake as well.
God, I'm praying, man. I'm praying. Pray with me. Pray with me.
Can you imagine? I'd love to play Eco in that high fidelity.
Yeah,
high fidelity. Yeah, it's great. All right, here it is, Vin.
Game of the year 2018, the year of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Now, this is our third year doing it.
Uh-huh.
My 2016 game of the year was a late entry. I believe it was Inside.
Oh, yeah, it was. I remember that now. Yours
was The Last Guardian?
Yep.
Okay. 2017, my game of the year was surprise to nobody, Yakuza 6.
Right, yeah, that wasn't surprising at all.
And yours was Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was my game of the year last year.
All right. And pretty sure this year we finally agree on the definitive game of the year. It's not a different game.
Barbie Horse Racing 5. Finally.
Yes, finally.
No, of course. I think it goes without saying that God of War. I mean, what a fucking
God
game.
of War.
I mean,
it's the best game of 2018, hands down. Full stop.
I mean, I was sort of blown away because I was really cynical about the Game Award this year, because when I was going into it, because of like everything that happened with Breath of the Wild and Horizon and all that sort of stuff, and just how like uninclusive it was, and like there was too many awards going to like the single games and stuff. Like Jeff Keighley like really balanced it out this year, and it felt balanced almost.
Yeah.
I mean, there was even like because like Red Dead started winning a lot of awards in the beginning. I was like, oh, the same thing is going to happen. But then when God of War won best, I think it was direction, it was just like, all right, this feels good. And then when it won Game of the Year, like I physically like jumped up and I was like, yes, like I was super happy for Cory Barlog, like all the guys that worked on that game, or guys and gals, of course. But yeah, I was just super excited about the fact that it finally won, and it's definitely my game of the year as well, just purely because of the way the game looks, the way the game plays, the story, just everything about it. Like there's hardly anything I can really complain about. Like the game is super hard as well. Like if you play it in a harder difficulty, like it's actually a serious challenge.
I played it on hard, and I think it took me 35 minutes to get past the first fight. Trial by fire.
That surprised me. Like when I first started playing it, I was like, holy shit, this is hard. And like I think about halfway through the game, I actually knocked it down to like normal difficulty just so I can enjoy it, because it hit me like how good of a game it was, and I didn't want it to like get in my way anymore, sort of thing. So I just I carried on playing it in normal mode, and I'm glad I did. But like I do want to go back and play it in hard mode, especially playing against all the fucking Valkyries. Jesus Christ, they're excessively hard. But what an amazing game.
I will say, once you start getting like really, really good armor and relics and ruins to put on your stuff, even on hard mode, the game does get easier.
Right.
The first third of that game on hard is brutal.
It's brutal, yeah. I mean, it's just everything about the game, just like how it feels like when you land an axe into like an enemy, and then it, like he puts his hand out and he pulls it out like with his powers and stuff. Like just everything about like the timing of stuff, and it's just awesome. Like it's such a great game, and the story is just really really touching. Like between like the father and son, and how like you see Kratos like become like almost human over time. Like just seeing that it's amazing. Like it very much reminded me of like The Last of Us and stuff like that, and I'm sure they were sort of trying to echo that as well when they were making the game, and they completely succeeded. And it didn't feel too similar to The Last of Us to distract you away and be like, oh, they're just hashing in on The Last of Us and doing that because they did that sort of thing. It doesn't feel like that, which is really great. But yeah,
and it's dude, that's like my favorite combat system in like I don't even know how long.
Yeah,
it feels so fresh and new. Like I had never felt a combat system like this, and a lot of people complain that the camera's too close. Like that never really bothered me at all.
No,
I love the way it felt. Like how complex and diverse the combo system became.
Yeah,
when you're switching between your shield and your fisticuffs and your axe, and it's just it's for everything that you said. It's like I almost knew at that point, like after I played it, I'm like I don't think anything's going to beat this game for game of the year. And I was really really worried. I'm like, man, when Red Dead comes out, is it going to be this hard? And then I got like 6 hours in the Red Dead and I was like, oh no.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't so much a question for myself. Like I got halfway through Red Dead and I was like, yeah, God of War is like 10 times a game this is.
Yeah.
But I was more worried about because like looking at the Metacritic scores, I was like, God, I hope like the same thing doesn't happen to God of War. It's what happened to Horizon. Not to say that Horizon deserved like Game of the Year or anything, but it deserved at least one award in my opinion. Like it should have won like best game direction or something because of just like the changes that they made like in 2017 from like their normal shooter games to like making Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it should have won it for that. But that aside, I was really worried the same thing was going to happen again with God of War. But I'm so glad that it got recognized as the amazing game which it is.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people. I just think like with Red Dead, it's just there's too many issues for it to be Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, and it does do a lot more. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do recognize the fact that God of War is a linear game and it doesn't have to contend with like a massive open world game. But it is like semi-open world, I guess. Like you could argue that. But
I loved going back to the river. Was it the Lake of Nines?
Yeah,
whatever, and exploring that open world area.
It was just great. Like that first battle that you have with what's his name? The guy with the tattoos.
Boulder,
yeah, sorry. Like the first fight that you have Boulder, you know, when he shows up at your house, like it's at the very beginning of the game. Like I was still sort of feeling the game out at that point, and I just had like a couple of really hard, like tough battles, which I was getting my ass kicked at the start of the game. I was like, oh man, is this game going to be too hard? Like I don't really know about the balancing. But after that first fight with Boulder, like that just blew my mind, and I was like, whoa, like this is something different, and it just held up all the way through the game and just got bigger and better as it went. And Christ, if you haven't played the game and your listeners listen to us talking about it, like, Christ, what are you doing with your life? Get on it. Like, it's an amazing game.
Yeah, it's and they patched in a like extra difficulty mode.
Yeah,
and
fuck
so
that. Fuck that. No, I'm not doing it.
And actually, a new items to collect. There's because I think it was like, what was it, like whatever you used gold to purchase armor. There's a new element that you can collect that will enable you to purchase a brand new armor that they patched into the game. So I've actually been playing through it again. I'm about like a third of the way through the game.
Nice.
On the hardest difficulty. It's fucking rough.
Yeah, I mean,
the game's awesome.
Like I do really want to play it again, but just like looking at 2019 just as like a year, it's just, I don't know where I'm going to squeeze it. Like I'm going to have to wait for like a serious like dry moment, but I don't think it's going to happen this year because this year is just looking so good so far. I just don't even know where I'm going to get any time, because 2019 is looking to be one of the great years, I think. I mean, there was a lot of games that like sort of bled off and went into 2019 off 2018.
Right.
But yeah, I really do believe it's going to be a great year.
Yeah, I think so too. It's it's like I'm looking for a dry patch so I can get to this backlog a bit, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime.
It's never going to happen, man. Yeah, we only get more games. That's the only thing. But yeah, real quick, like, what's your most anticipated game for 2019?
I think it's Sekiro is probably number one.
Yeah, it's up there.
And there was one more I was trying to think. I cannot remember which game it was. I don't remember. I think Sekiro. Bloodstained is up there for sure.
Right.
I just I basically played Iconoclast's Yoku's Island Express and the Shantae Half Genie Hero game in succession. So I'm on this like crazy like Metroidvania binge right now. Where I just have been thinking about Bloodstained after playing those games, so I'm really looking forward to that. And how about yourself? What are you looking forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to all the twos, basically. I've got all the twos. Last of Us Part 2 looks, obviously, that's going to be amazing when that comes out, whenever it comes out. The Division 2, like, I played the shit out of the first Division game. I know you're not into multiplayer games, but God, I probably sunk like 120 hours into that game. I just run, I know the streets of Manhattan pretty well at this point.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've heard, people that played the Division 1 are looking for more Division, so...
Yeah. I mean, I'm super hyped on it. And the last two is Dying Light 2. That was probably my biggest surprise out of E3 sort of thing. That was probably my favorite sort of press conference moment, because I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. I know you were kind of disappointed by the game, but I personally, for me, it was one of my games of the generation almost this time around, which is kind of crazy. I sunk so many hours into it, and I really enjoyed playing it, and I'm playing it again actually at the minute. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm really looking forward to the second one.
Yeah, that whole dynamic system where depending on who you align with, it'll change how the game works, and how
super interesting.
Yeah, the towns and the people are affected by it. Yeah, I just hope they get rid of those super fucking annoying zombies that chase you.
Yeah,
like the really fast ones. That was my big annoyance with the game. But the world itself and the parkouring and stuff, it was, and even the guns and the weapon system. I'm a big fan of Dead Island 2, Riptide.
The great thing about Dying Light, the first game, they just never stop working on it, and they're still making DLC for it to this day. There's still stuff coming out for it.
Really?
And the reason for that is because people just keep buying it, and people are still playing it, and just because their user base is just going up and up and up, it's all right, we'll just keep making content for it, and they've just never stopped. And there's a new DLC came out 2 months ago or something, and they gave it out for free. Wow. Yeah, they just gave it out, and they were here's free DLC because you guys are awesome and you keep playing the game. So yeah, hats off to them guys. But I'm really looking forward to the second one. I hope it's as good as the first one, with improvements based on all the stuff, on all the feedback, which they can't. There's a lot of stuff in the game that's sort of hard coded into it, and they can't take it out because it'll sort of change the experience, stuff like you've mentioned. Right. So I'll be interested to see how they sort of tackle that in the second game. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
but that's it.
I mean, I liked it. The first one enough, aside from those annoyances, that I'm interested to see how this game pans out. So I'm looking forward to it as well. All right. A year in review, 2018. That was a long one.
Yeah, it was.
Hopefully everyone stuck around to the end. I bet everyone already knows that we were going to say God of War. It's going to be God of War.
Yeah, I mean, Sony had a really good year this year. This is the thing. I mean, people might call me a Sony fanboy, but I was totally all in with Xbox last generation. So, and then I could be going back to Xbox next generation based on how many studios they've been buying recently. So,
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but yeah, Sony had a really good year, and God of War just came out on top. And it's hard to sort of argue with because of just how pretty much flawless that game was. I don't really have any main complaints about it.
No, neither do I. Yep, there you go. Video games, 2018.
Video games, awesome.
Good stuff. I am going to take a shower and play some Judge Eyes. I got some Judge Eyes.
Nice. You physically got them, or the game's got them? I'm confused. What's happening?
I have. It sounds like Like I'm.
It sounds like you have like an STD, to be honest.
I was about to say that, but I stopped myself. Yeah. All right, Doc, give it to me straight. You have judge eyes. Oh, fuck. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for episode 57, Game of the Year 2018. Couple things happened in 2018 that kept me from putting Podcast Reload on a normal schedule. I'm going to try to fix that this year. I shouldn't even say this. I should cut this out because then people are going to
people are expect
call me out for it
right,
when I release one episode every 5 months.
All right, we'll see you in the next episode for Game of the Year 2019.
Yeah, yearly podcast, one podcast a year. It's all you need.
Hey, man, we'll make it good. It's all good.
All right, that's gonna do it for episode 57. Everyone, praise Jesus. Never forget that.
Good night and good luck.
Good night and good luck. See ya.